Hi. Hello, hello. Oh, wait. Ah, I'm breaking things. Hello. Hi, everybody. Hi. How are you all doing? How you all doing? Hi. Hello. Who is here? Who is here? Let's have a look. Who is here? Hello. Schnapak, M0, Summer Phoenix, Chaos Fire Dragon, Fizzbuzz, and Kami. Thank you all for the Lab Station Ratio check-ins. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you're all good. And then good afternoon. Good afternoon, M0. Hello, Nightmind. Hello. I can't believe it's not butter. I know. That's relatable. That's me every time I exist. I can't believe it. Hello, Next Quest. Hi. Hello, Factance Incarnate. Hello. Hi, Zao. I'm sorry. Okay, right. I'm just going to be upfront. I'm very sleep deprived today. Can you hear it in my voice? I feel like my voice feels like hoarse today, and I feel like it's sleep deprivation. It doesn't make sense. Just roll with it. But yes, hello Zara Zaz, hello. Good morning to you too. Hello Bobo, hi. Morning science while cleaning and meal prepping. Yeah, we do science. Let's do it. Hello Spectral Anomaly, hello. Hello Seon, hi. Hello Summer Phoenix, also hi. Can't stay for long, no problem. Thank you so much for dropping by. I hope your day's going well. Hi Fizzbuzz, hi. Hello. Is that Hosmod singing? No, it is not. That would be fun though. I should force him to record a song one day. Can you imagine? He would suffer. Hello, Just Jane. Hi. Hello, Housemod. Yes. Who knows? Maybe I will force you. Who knows? And hello, Zerkia. Hi. How is everybody today? How are you doing? I hope you're good. Yes, I'm horribly sleep deprived today. And I also feel like my allergies are kicking off at the same time. So I might be a little bit less Genki than normal. I'm not very Genki today. But I am incredibly something. Yeah, this is gonna be a mess. I don't even know what I'm talking about already, and we're literally like I've just said hello. I don't know what's happening. Oh dear, this is gonna be an experience. Hello Tingman PLC, hello, welcome in. Just saw the title and thought how interesting it is, so that's why I decided to pop in. Welcome in. Yeah, so today we're going to be doing a Q&A session thingy. So I have a form somewhere that's got questions in it, but I can also just take questions in the chat. The reason why I'm doing this is because I put on the schedule originally. So Tingman, so because you're new, welcome in. We normally on Sundays read scientific papers, as in we will sit there and we will read an actual journal article on stream. But as I said, I'm very sleep deprived today, and I started like having a look at papers that we could read, and then I was like, oh no, my reading comprehension is terrible. So I was like, we're not doing that. We're doing questions instead. I think this is valid. Please do not bully my choices. But I've realised I've forgotten to bring up the actual form in which I store all of my questions. So that's good. That's a good start. Hi, that red panda. Hello. Yeah, let's go. It's a live stream. Let's go. Let's go. How are you? I hope you're good. How is everybody today? How are we all doing? I'm doing okay. As I said, I'm a bit tired. But it's my own fault. Basically, I'm going back to work tomorrow.
Hello, this is Zalraz Zaliuris. That remind me of the fascinating concept of sleep debt exist, but sleep banks supposedly don't exist. Truly intriguing.
Yes. Thank you so much for the 12 bits. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yes, so that is true. So sleep debt. So sleep debt is basically like if you keep being sleep deprived, then your functioning kind of goes all wacky. You stop functioning very well. Like me right now. You stop functioning super well. So basically your cognitive abilities, they don't like permanently decline. It's just a temporary decline. But lots of people think that like, oh, if I'm sleep deprived, then that means I need to make it up. I need to sleep more. And that's actually not true. If you have sleep deprivation, like one day, then you just need one night of sleep to fix it. If you are sleep deprived for 3 days in a row, you still just need one night of sleep to fix it. The problem is actually more that, like, if you are repeatedly sleep deprived again and again and again, then it kind of triggers a chronic stress response. So it kind of causes all the same problems as like any kind of chronic stress, really. But yeah, that's true. That's true. Sleep debt. It's little bit of a urban legend, a little bit of myth. That saying, I'm not advocating being sleep deprived. It's better to not be sleep deprived. Generally, do aim to get as much like sleep as you need. I am a big advocate for the idea that sleep, like, people tell you like, oh, you need to get 8 hours of sleep. Based on my understanding of the literature and also just my understanding of humans generally, my impression is that you don't actually need, like, not every single person needs exactly 8 hours of sleep. It's kind of like one of those heuristics that's told to you by doctors to just, you know, make medical communication a little bit easier. In practice, your need for sleep is like probably on a normal distribution. So there are gonna be like 7.5 to 8 hours is probably about the median point, but there are some people that consistently need more than that. So there'll be some people that need 10 hours every night, and then there's other people that can get by on like significantly less, so like 6. So realistically, probably the majority of people fall within the range of like 6 to 10. It's just about kind of experimenting and seeing when you feel best, you know? That's what I do. I've worked out that my ideal is somewhere between like 6.5 and 7.5, and it varies depending on the day, to be honest. It varies quite a lot for me. Because sometimes I'll wake up and I'll have 6.5 and I'll just be like, this is good. Life is good. And other times I wake up and I had 6.5 and I'm like, I am not functioning. It do be like that. Goodness gracious. Hang on a second. Bear with me 1 second. I need to cough because my allergies. 1 second. Bleh. Bleh. Also, thank you, Batsushista and Tingman PLC for the follows. Thank you so much. Sorry, I was yapping. I do this thing where like I just yap a lot and then I will eventually acknowledge you. I'm not being rude. I'm just, I want to finish my train of thought because otherwise it will disappear. But yeah, thank you so much for the follows. Welcome into the research participation pool. We might have to take part in some research, so I hope you're ready for that. How do you access journals? Through EBSCO. So all of the papers that we read on stream are open. They're open access. So specifically what I'll do is I'll look for papers that are CC BY licensed, so meaning Creative Commons 4.0. You have to be really careful about the license of the paper that you're using for stuff like this. In theory, technically, because I earn money from streams, if I were to stream reading a paper and I brought up the paper on stream and it has a non-commercial license or a closed access license, I could, in theory, get hit with copyright strikes from the journal publishers. I don't think in practice that happens. I don't know of any like science YouTubers or streamers that have ever been hit by a copyright strike, but frankly there is a first time for everything and I don't want to be that first time. So yeah, every paper that we read is Creative Commons licensed or has some kind of similar license, it'd be the same for code. If I was doing code reviews, I'd make sure that they were like MIT or GNU or something like that. So yeah, that's how we choose papers. But yeah, most of them I just find them through either journals that I already know. Like, to be honest, most of the papers that we read on streams are papers that I need to read for my job, and I'm like, it's more fun if we do it together. So we all win, I think. We all win. I think this is how it works. I'm the reverse of you. I slept a lot. I'm not gonna lie. Me and Husmod do this thing every time. We've been on annual leave. We do this thing every time we're on annual leave where like our sleep schedule is just doing something a bit wacky. I think that we both have like sleep cycles, like circadian rhythms that are slightly longer than 24 hours because we always just kind of like stay up a little bit later and it just drifts. And the next thing we know, we're going to bed at 8 a.m. So I feel like if I had a month off, my schedule would just naturally like rotate around in the sense of like I would start getting up at 8 a.m. and then it would get later and later and later. And then eventually I would be getting up at 8 p.m. and then it would get later and later and later. And then I would be getting up at 8 a.m. again. But yeah, because of that, we were like, we have basically two options right now. Either we can just stay up overnight or we can try and go to bed. And my experience is that trying to go to bed when you've literally just had, 8 hours of sleep 6 hours ago is generally not a very good way to do it. So we were like, okay, we'll stay up and we'll have a nap. So I'm currently running on 2 hours of sleep. So yeah, we'll see how functional I am today. Yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Let's see.
Hello, this is Psydere. So you heading back to work, Psydere? Sorry for accidentally cutting off, Psydere, to continue on your train of thought.
That is okay. Thank you again for the 12 bits. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's fine. You didn't cut off my train of thought, to be fair. I think my train of thought was finished. I don't remember what it was now. It's gone. Goodbye. But yes, I'm, oh gosh. Oh, what is going on? Why are the allergies doing this today? Give me 1 second, sorry. That was a meaty one. You know when you have a cough and it like vibrates your entire chest? It was one of those. That was a good cough. Yeah, so I'm going back to work tomorrow. Sad time, not sad times. I like my job. I like my job. I like my job, but also I'm kind of like, it's been nice having time off, it's been nice. I think I needed it. I've had 2 weeks of like actually being completely off, which is pretty rare for me. Normally, I will still be doing something. Like all of the times that I've had time off work since the beginning of the year until now, I've been using my annual leave from work to do my PhD. So it's amazing to actually have some time off and just like chill. We've been playing video games and watching anime and stuff for like 2 weeks. And also we went on that random trip to the Isle of Man. And it's just like, it's been nice. It's been nice not having to think, that makes a change. Sleep credit card would be nice though. Yeah, it's true. I would love a sleep credit card. I would love that. Yeah. Everyone's sleep needs are different. I know this because I have a sleep condition and I've been told this by sleep specialists. And your sleep hours demand change as you age. Yes, that's also very true. That's very, very true. Your need for sleep does change as you age. It tends to decrease if I remember correctly. So yeah, when you're like a teenager, that's like the peak of how much sleep you will ever need. And it's also like, for most people, it's also the latest that your circadian rhythm will ever be. Most people, like, the circadian rhythm readjusts to daylight schedule as they get older too. I think it's Jova for me, I think it's over. I think I am just stuck with a teenager circadian rhythm for the rest of my life, and I have accepted it. It's useful when I need to do stuff that's like, America time zoned. Like if I have like collaborations, or if I have to do a conference that's America time zoned, I'm like, nice. I can do this. But when I'm trying to function and when all of the shops shut at like 5 p.m. because that's how Ireland works, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. Keeps launching into the biology of the ECS and how sleep interacts with the recovery pathway, inflammation, and cell signaling. You've triggered my trap card for bio lectures. Excellent. If you can go to sleep at a time and then wake up without having to rely on alarms and chemical stimulus, then that is the amount you need. Generally between 6 to 11 hours, depending on age and a few other variables. Yeah, I think I'm at the lower end of it because my ideal amount of sleep is like 6.5 to 7.5, depending on the day. But like I said, if I'm waking up naturally, it's always later than it feels like it should be. Like waking up for work is a pain. It's genuinely like a bit of a pain. And I have actually spoken to my manager Like my work is very, very good. We have flexible working, and it's like actually flexible working. So they were like, if you want to, you know, basically work on America time zone, if you need to do that, like you can do that. We are fine with that. We have people that are based in America and on the American continent. Like you can. And I was like, thank you. However, I do wish to try and constrain it slightly, you know, because it is helpful to be awake when the rest of the world is also awake, to be honest. It's helpful to be able to like go out and, you know, do things and get to the shop before they shut and things like that. So yeah. Did I say hello to you yet, Chaos Fire Dragoon? I don't actually know if I did. Hello. Hello. Has anyone else joined us since then? Dory Foxtrot, hi. And hello, Posse Clapper. Hello. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. And also Oats Mate, hi. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. You've both just signed the informed consent form. You know that, right? You have to take part in my research now. I hope you're ready. Oh dear. From pure boredom, I sleep 8 hours a night and take 2 to 3 hour naps when I feel like it. See, this is smart. Naps are good. More people should do naps. They are good. Yes. Although I'm not really like a nap person. The only time that I ever want to nap is like either if I'm sleep deprived or if I'm like, if it's really warm. Like hot climates make me want to nap. Yeah. But otherwise, I'm not really a nap person. I'm like a big sleep 1 time a day person, but also the sleep gets progressively later. Oh dear. I really wish people were more responsive to sleep research. There's a lot of evidence suggesting that high schoolers should have nap time. Yes, there's also a lot of evidence that high schoolers like should not be getting forced to wake up as early as they are forced to wake up for school. And it's a bit silly, you know? It's a bit silly. We like, I wish that we designed societal structures to be a bit more like based on evidence rather than like, well, we've always made kids get up at like 6 a.m. so we should just keep doing it. Like that seems a bit silly. Also, hi Nico, sorry I didn't see you there. Hi Nico, hi, how are you doing? Hope you're good. Oh, and also thank you for the posture check, Nightmind. I apologize. I am not paying attention. My posture is good today, to be fair. I am sat up straight. I have got my water. I am hydrating regularly. So, yeah. Despite the sleep deprivation, we're doing relatively well on self-care. Or maybe because of the sleep deprivation, to be fair. Maybe. There's a comorbidity with several spectrum diagnoses and issues with sleep regulation, which is a risk factor. Couple that with having a partner, and when you have partners with the sleep schedule sync, it can be an issue. Yeah, it's so true, actually. But I don't feel like it's either of us keeping each other up. I feel like we actually just both have that sleep schedule and it just kind of worked out, you know? Yeah. I guess I will die. Please don't. Please don't. I need you to help me make dinner when the pasta breaks and then I start crying. Please help. When I knock a single pasta on the floor and it is just too much. Oh dear. Today I learned Twitch has a 500 character limit. Interesting. I see. Oh yeah, I should link the Google form. Sorry. I should link the Google form. It's the same one as always. So because the thing is that if I rely on chat, I'm going to forget them. And at least this way we can come back to it if I just skip past stuff because I'm being silly. Q&A form here. There we go. Oh, that's a long Google Forms link. It's fine. What am I doing here? Oh, there we go. I can do things. Look at me. I'm functional. I swear I'm functional. Yippee. Hi, Wordsticks. Hi. How are you doing? I hope you're good. Thank you for the lab safety register check-in. And hi, Miria. Hi. Welcome in. Meow. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Okay, this may be an odd question, but in my module, I was introduced deeply to Carl Jung's disc and read some monographs by Thomas Erickson. Surrounded by idiots. What color would you sit in? Mine is blue. I am not gonna lie. I know literally nothing about Jung. I know literally nothing about Jung. Because my training is like entirely in the well, it's not entirely in the. I'm a scientific like type of psychologist, so my training is very a lot of my training was positivist, and then during my PhD I did a bit more mixed methods research, so I ended up going down the whole like qualitative, you know, social constructivist kind of readings. Yes. Oh dear, I'm already not being very coherent, I apologize. But yeah, I don't really know very much about Jung. First of all, because like Jung is more in the kind of like psychoanalytic sphere, right? I don't know who Erikson is. I feel like Erikson I'm thinking of Erik Erikson. I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of Erik Erikson, who is the developmental psychologist. But Thomas Erikson, I don't know who that is either. I'm not gonna lie. Because yeah, I'm like a social psychologist, so I don't know much about clinical stuff, and that includes like psychoanalytic / psychodynamic stuff generally. I'm not very knowledgeable about those kinds of things. I just know science, I'm not gonna lie. I keep thinking I should read stuff. I should read more like that. I am trying to do a bit more casual reading, like in my free time, that is kind of like broad-based psychology, if that makes sense. But I'm not doing a very good job of it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm doing a pretty good job. No, I'm doing a pretty bad job even. I'm doing a pretty bad job. At the minute, I've got a book out from the library. It is I Want to Die, but I Want to Eat Tteokbokki. I think that's what it's called. And that's like the closest I've got to any kind of clinical reading in the past like 5 years. So yeah, that's where we're at. And also, hi, General Boredom. Thank you so much for the follow. Hi. Welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. It's time to take part in some research, buddy. You just signed the informed consent form. Welcome in. And also, hi, Grim Gill said, hi, how are you doing? I hope you're good. If we based more societal structures on actual evidence, I feel like this world would look a lot different. It would look a lot different. It would look very, very different. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, the thing about like teenagers' sleep schedule, like that one's pretty well established, and it annoys me because it's like not like we have, at least in some countries, there are national structures that dictate when school starts. So like, why are we not making the most of that? Base it on evidence. I'm crying. How many questions per minute so far? Probably, I guess maybe like 2. I think the sleep one counts. And I think the Jung one counts, but I couldn't answer it. So yeah, but yes, there's a form. I'm going to go through the form. I'll have a look at what questions are in there. I think I linked the right one. I hope I did. Did I? I did. Okay, cool. We're all good. I know what I'm doing, I swear. I swear I know what I'm doing. Goodness gracious. Oh, hi, Bushy. Hi. Sorry, I've been like yapping. I apologize. Hello, Bushy. Hi. Reporting in from my local con. Won't be here for too long between sword fights, but I hope you have a wonderful stream. Thank you, Bushy. Thank you. I hope your con goes well. I hope it goes well. I hope you have fun. Thank you so much for dropping by. I really appreciate it. Why is it the first week I get off from school, I get tonsillitis? No, that's such a mood. That happens to me all the time. I don't know what the biological reason is, but I swear this is a thing. This can't be just like, this can't be everybody is like all independently noticing an illusory correlation. Surely not. Because I also get sick like almost every time that I have annual leave. I didn't this time actually, saying that. Interesting. Jung doesn't come up in clinical much either. I have both clinical and ABA masters. Yeah, see, this is the thing, right? I think it very much depends on the like way that you're trained. Because I guess if you do like more, sorry, I need to put like cream on because my My eczema is bothering me. I apologize. I'm being bothered by itchy hands. Yeah, so I guess like it depends on the like focus of your training, right? Because I do know people that have done clinical, that have done a fair bit of psychoanalytic / psychodynamic work, and like had training for it in their masters or their doctorate or whatever. So I guess it depends on like probably where you're trained and also like the type of program you're doing. And most people that I know focus on CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, before anybody says anything. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Most people I know are focused on that, or like acceptance and commitment therapy, or oh, what was the other one? There's another one that I know quite a few people have done. I'm thinking. No, I don't remember. It's gone. It's gone. Dialectical, that's the one. It was dialectical behavioral therapy. So like most people that I know have done something that's at least like somewhat behaviorally focused, which kind of I think goes with the territory of like training nowadays. That seems to be fairly common, at least in the UK and Ireland. But I know that in other places, there is much more of a focus on psychoanalytic and psychodynamics. So yeah. Yeah, acceptance and commitment therapy. I think, obviously I'm not a clinician, so I don't know like the specifics of it, but my understanding is that it's kind of centered around, it's kind of combining cognitive behavioral therapy. So like the kind of intervening with like destructive thought patterns and behavior patterns. And then on top of that, there's like a kind of mindfulness element that's kind of like being aware of and accepting the things that you can't change. And on top of that, it's also like trying to help people to live according to their values. That's my kind of vague understanding of acceptance and commitment therapy. I've never like learned about it super in depth, but I did a bit of like introductory stuff for it when I was working in the NHS, and I think that's, if I remember correctly, that's what it is. I could, for full disclosure, I could be wrong. It was like almost 10 years ago. Oh god. It was almost 10 years ago. Oh no, I'm having a moment. Oh no. But yeah, it was like almost 10 years ago that I was learning this stuff, and like I was like a therapy assistant. Oh yeah, I did. I was like a therapy assistant for like art and drama therapy as well. There's a fun fact. I think I've mentioned that, but I guess this can be the piece of lore. This can be the lore drop today, is that for a period of time, I worked as an assistant in a art and drama therapy group, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I apologize. I've been yapping. I'm really behind on chat again. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the lab safety register check-in, Swizz. Like, I hope you're good. And then also thank you, Splashman DX and 033046. Is that a hexadecimal code or something? I don't know, but I like it. I like it. Thank you both so much for the follows. Welcome in. I hope you're good. How are you doing? I hope you're fine. Yeah. And also, hi Racco, sorry, I see you. I apologize. I've taken like an entire 5 minutes to even acknowledge that you're here, but hello. And also, hello Torgamus, hi. Hello, how are you doing? I hope you're good. Idea, since the Google form stays the same, take and convert a link into a QR code. I should do that. That's a good idea. I should do that at some point. I should do that. I could probably do that pretty quickly. Can I just generate one like this? Let's have a look. There. I think I might have the option to do this built in. Yeah, create QR code. Perfect. There we go. Easy peasy. And then I go here. And I go here. That's a very good idea, Bobo. Here we go. QR code. Oh, it's hidden. QR code. Where can I put it? I guess here. Is this fine? I guess I should have some text as well, actually. Let me add some text that explains what it is. I've forgotten how OBS works. I have forgotten how OBS works. Excellent. Ask a question. There, like that. This is not my trademark font, and that makes me upset, so I'm going to change it. This is very important to do, clearly. That. Yes. And then we want to do... Can I do like a... No. I don't think that I can do like a border around it, or maybe I can. I guess we'll just do this. This will be fine. This will be fine. There we go. Oh, wait, I can do a border. I can do a border. I see you. I see you. I see you. Outline. There. And then select color like that. And then, wait. And then we increase it slightly. Yes. This should now look that. Why is it not using the right font? Hello? There we go. I need it to match the aesthetic. It needs to be correct. Bigger outline. There we go. Now I'm happy. It would look better if it was also centered. I'm sorry, I'm so fussy. I'm so fussy, but it's the attention to detail that makes everything look nice and cohesive and aesthetically pleasing. So this is important. There we go. What's the best place for me to put this? I feel like there is like a little bit obnoxious, actually. Let's make this smaller and make this a bit smaller. There we go. That's a bit better, I think. There we go. Okay, okay. I think this is good now. I think this is good. We've got a question. A question? No, we don't have a question. We have a QR code. That's the word. We've got a QR code for asking a question now. Look at us, so professional. Thank you, Bobo. Thank you, Bobo. Why are people like that? It's a good question, Racco. To this day, I still ask myself it on a daily heckin' basis. I don't know why people are like that. They've read so many papers and they still don't make sense. Oh dear. And hi Astral, hi, how are you? Sorry, we were going off on tangents and I was very like hyper fixated on getting my thing done. I apologize. How are you? I hope you're good. Yes, the first words you heard were per minute. How many questions can we answer? Per minute makes no sense though. I think a better frequency would be per hour. How many questions per hour will we answer? So far we're on 2. And that's being generous. Because I spent a large amount of time setting up my QR code. Yeah. Yeah. In the US and Korea, we have mandated hours that are set by government level. And when it's brought up to change them, a bunch of back in my day, scoffing it, changing it in both. Hearing it in 2 languages is wild. That's so funny. It's probably the same here. Actually, no, I would imagine that the UK and Ireland do this thing where they just like they just don't talk about it. And then eventually there'll be like a parliamentary debate or something. And then they'll be like, oh yes, we should totally consider this. Maybe we should set up a committee to consider it. And then they spend 5 years considering it. And then at the end, they're like, we totally recommend that you should do this. And then they never do it. So, yeah. Also, thank you for the follow, Longboard Loser. Thank you. Welcome into the research participation pool. I hope you're good. I think it's like high stress cortisol suppresses your immune system, and then when you're out of the high stress situation, your body like feels the damage. I do wonder if it is like that. Like, yeah, you're like high stress, you've got high cortisol. We know that cortisol We know that cortisol impacts your immune system. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some kind of interaction between like, okay, I'm not stressed anymore, and then like the immune system is just like, ah! Mine does it all the time though, like regardless of whether I'm stressed or not. So yeah. I met the voice actor Alex Lee, and he remembers the character I first heard him from, which is surprising because it's an English dub of a Chinese game. That's so cool. I love that. That makes me really happy. That makes me really happy when people like remember something and you think that it's like a small and insignificant part of their career, and then they do actually remember it and like it's meaningful when you share that. That's lovely. I love that. Or you notice when getting sick interferes with rare leisure time more than when it interferes with regular work. I mean, that's true also. For me, it's like I'm kind of low grade sick all of the time, to be honest. Like I'm battling like allergies and stuff and like other stuff too, like all the time. So for me, it's like less of like I am getting sick at this specific time and more like I am a bit more sick than usual. How manageable is it? But like it doesn't, I don't really let it interfere with very much, to be fair. But I can imagine that if you're not used to being low grade sick all of the time, like it's probably a bit more noticeable. Like, look, the only good thing about being chronically ill is that you like get, you know, mechanisms to cope with things. like, like for me, like not being able to breathe out of my nose, for example, or like constantly having the sniffles or being tired, like those are just how I exist. Like I have permanent anemia, like tired, a cold can't make me tired. I was tired anyway. But yeah, you can kind of learn to cope with it a bit better. So yeah, I mean, chronically, I don't know if it's like, I don't know if that, also Frost, I don't know if I said hello to you. Hello, how are you? I hope you're good. I don't know if chronically ill is the right way to describe it. I never really know the right way to describe it, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. My blood is trying to murder me. Exactly. I am part of the my blood is trying to murder me gang. I have like a blood disorder. And then I also have like allergies just constantly, like in every way that you can have allergies, I have allergies. So yeah, it's just like the two things kind of interact in a weird way sometimes, because it's like, oh, what's that? I have sinusitis again. It is time for me to also have a nosebleed. So it's that kind of thing, if that makes sense. But yeah, there's like, it's just side effects of stuff, really. It's like the constant anemia and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. CBT could incorporate CBT if we as a society weren't cowards. Good Lord. I mean, it could. People could certainly try. Siemens, as in the company Siemens, yes, does cognitive behavioral therapy for their application process. Really? I didn't know that. That's super interesting. I wonder if they had like, at some point, if they had like really bad workplace well-being and then an industrial organizational psychologist was like, meh, sort out your workforce, do some screening. Wow. Hi, Ty. Hi. I hope you're good. Hello. Yeah, I wonder if like at some point they had really bad workplace well-being and then they were like, we need a psychologist. And then the psychologist was like, please, dear Lord, screen your employees. Like, I don't know. That's interesting. The description you gave of the UK and Ireland dealing with committees sent me because it reminds me of several times the legislative branch yanking me in an expert witness, yanking me in as a expert witness to explain, yes, this is the science, and then waving and showing me out. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think I've contributed to 2 like expert things, like, you know, like when like a government or whatever does they gather like evidence from people in the field, or, you know, experts in the field. I've done that twice, and both times they were like, cool, thank you for your evidence, and then largely proceeded to ignore it. So I feel that. Goodness gracious, I apologize. I'm having to cough so much today and I don't know why. This is terrible. This is terrible news for the economy. Spending the whole day seeing how I can contribute to sort. Let's go. Currently at open source day 2. Yeah, let's go. I'm so jealous. Every single time I look at open source and I'm like, I wish that I could go to that. That is like my peak con. Like, there is nothing better than that. I would love to go to open source. I hope you're having fun. I'm so excited to see more of like okay, so For anyone that doesn't know, Bao, as in like the VTuber Bao, not the food, and Ellie Minibot and Vedal have like collabed on basically like letting Neuro drive a car, like autonomous self-driving car, but it's like one of those stupid little kids ones. And like I've not managed to see like too much of it yet. I'm keeping it because I assume that Bao is probably going to make a video at some point, because she vlogged open source last year, so I assume she's going to make a video. But I am so hyped to see what they've done. It seems so cool. Like it's so cool. It's so cool. I want more like VTuber projects like that. It makes me so happy. Yeah, there's loads of really cool YouTubers and like robotics people there. Yeah, it looks so good. It looks so good. Imagine being in the same room as like, you know, like Hank Green and like Tirzu and like William Osman and like Styropyro and Colin Furs, like all of the people. That would be so cool. I would cry and explode. She did have someone recording. Amazing. I'm so excited because Bao's vlog from open source last year was so funny. It was so funny. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like pretty limited on time, so I'm quite selective about like who I actually manage to watch. And I don't really get to see much of Bao's just like normal content, but I always make sure to make time for her vlogs, because I swear every single time I've ever seen one of her vlogs, I've ended up actually crying because it was so funny. I swear. Also, sorry, Kenny Onatus, thank you so much for the follow. Sorry, I was yapping. I got into the yapping. I apologize. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. I hope you're ready to take part in some research. They're giving her access to machines. Yeah. Step 1, car. Step 2, question mark. Step 3, she takes a tank. I wouldn't even put it past her, to be honest. I bet she would do it. Neuro would do it. Ellie will put Neuro in a real car soon enough. I wouldn't put it past her. She is too powerful. She is too powerful. I fully believe that she could do that. Sounds like paradise. I'd love to be there. Those are my heroes. It genuinely, honestly, like I would love to go. I would love to go. It's like my dream con. Like, don't get me wrong, like I would love to go to like TwitchCon and stuff like that. I really, really want to, but like open source is like number 1 bucket list. Unfortunately, I think it's probably not possible to go to open source anytime soon, for reasons, TM. But yeah, I would love to go. I'm sorry, I keep having to mute so that I can cough. I don't know what's going on today. This is terrible. Do I sound hoarse? Does my voice sound croaky today? I feel like it does. I don't know what's going on. Terrible stuff. Terrible. The funniest thing is that Ellie tweeted meeting my heroes and not realizing it because I cannot recognize faces. She's face blind. I have exactly the same thing. I can't tell people's faces apart. To this day, I still can't tell the difference between Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Gosling. To me, they look like the same person. And everybody's like, no, like they're totally different. They're totally different. And I'm like, they're both called Ryan. They have the same face and they're both like Canadian. They have similar accents. There's nothing to differentiate them. I can't tell them apart. Okay? Unless they talk, unless they're stood right next to each other and talk, I can tell their voices apart, but their faces look exactly the same to me. I can't tell the difference. So that's relatable. That's very relatable, actually. The amount of times that like I've worked with somebody, I've spent an entire, like, you know, I've spent months working with somebody, like, on a project, or, like, on work stuff, on, like, academic work stuff. I will have Zoom meetings with them every week for, like, 6 months, and then I will finally meet them in person at a conference, and I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. And they're like, huh? The worst one, I think, ever, the worst one ever, like, this is the one that, like, I walked away from it and I was like, I'm actually upset that this has happened. Normally, I just kind of laugh it off and I tell people, like, oh, I'm autistic and, like, you know, I'm face blind and I'm sorry. Like, if you change anything about, like, your appearance or your vibe, I will no longer know who you are, because I'm very, like, dependent on like clothes and hair and things like that and voice to know who you are. So if any of those things change, you are just a different person now. Like, I've never met you. But the worst one for me, I think, was like, I had an internet friend who I've known her genuinely, I think, since I was 13, right? I've known her for so long. And purely by coincidence, she started doing a PhD at a university where I got invited to do a seminar. So I went off to this university and I did a seminar, and she like messaged me and she was like, I'm going to be at your seminar. And I was like, that's so fun. I'm really excited. I can't wait to meet you. This is so cool. And then like I did my seminar, and then at the end of it, she came up to me and I was like, hello, nice to meet you. And she was like, hello, you know who I am, right? And I was like, have we met? And she was like, we've known each other for like 15 years. And I was like, oh, that's you. Hello. I couldn't tell. I didn't know who she was. And like, I should have known who she was, because it wasn't a well-attended seminar, if I'm being completely honest. There was at the most 10 people in that room. Like, I should have at least been able to work it out based on hair color or something, but nope, just couldn't do it. Also, hi, 1TW1, hi, how are you? I hope you're good. At some point, Evil's getting a quadcopter that shoots ice cream. Incredible. I love that. They're actually working on the real car. It's not a joke. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. That's too powerful, genuinely. Like I said, I genuinely think she can do it. I think she will do it. I don't question her ability. That, like, Ellie just like, she just does stuff, and I'm like, how are you so good at that? Like, how are you so good at everything? How do you exist? Oh man, she's like the kind of person where like I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but like when I was at school, there would be all of us nerdy kids, but even within the nerdy kids, there'd be like people who you're like, oh my god, you're so cool, right? And she would be that person in the kind of broad network of nerdy kids at the school who like you never interact with. I'd just kind of be staring at her from a distance being like, you're cool, you're so cool, but I don't want to, I'm too scared to talk to you because you're too cool, but also you're nerdy, so I know I can, but I'm still scared. I had people like that when I was at school. There was like 3 people when I was at school. One of them like drew manga really, really well, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then I never spoke to them because I was scared. You got the con flu without the con? Legit, actually. That's exactly how I feel. That's how I feel. It's probably just allergies. Oh dear. Rolling around with a robot drunk with power. I would make friends with the robot. Let's be honest. I'd probably get on better with the robot than I would with people. Oh dear. Ryan Gosling is literally me and I'm a girl. That's such a mood. But I can't tell the difference between him and Ryan Reynolds. Like, I genuinely can't tell. Ryan Gosling has cooler roles. Okay, so like intellectually, I know that like Ryan Gosling is the one from like Blade Runner and the one from Barbie and a few other things. And intellectually, I also know that Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. But that doesn't mean that I can look at them and tell them apart. Oh dear. The face blindness, the skin stuff, another thing that you and the angry little Korean woman share. She can tell me because of my hats. I have weird hats. That's incredible. That's exactly what I mean though, right? If someone like, so if somebody consistently has like something about them that is just like the same every time, I can remember them. But I'm gonna be completely honest with you, and I think Husmod will either laugh or be sad or both simultaneously when I say this. Genuinely, I think that like if you just printed out Husmod's face and removed all of the context, I think I still wouldn't recognize him. And that's nothing. It's nothing to do with like I don't look at him. It's just that my brain just doesn't hold faces. I don't know why. Let's be honest. You're used to it. Thankfully, Husmod has a very consistent fashion sense, so I can always tell whether it's him. Justice for Husband. He deserves better. Oh dear. Face blindness seems like a tragic condition. It's not really tragic. You just kind of adapt, right? Like, other people remember people based on their face. I remember them based on their voice or their fashion sense or their interests. Like, in a way, like, I think it has its benefits in a way, because I think I probably remember more about people's personalities because of it. Like, I don't just look at them and go like, oh, this is you. I understand. Like, I have to actually form a concept of the person in order to remember them, if that makes sense, which I think is probably a bit easier in some ways. Yeah. Also, hi, Devogma. Hi. I hope you're good. And also, hi, Mylan. Hi. How are you? I hope you're good. How are you doing? Blade Runner wasn't also Reynolds? No, I'm pretty sure Blade Runner was Gosling. But this is what I mean. They look like the same person. Seminar brain is real. It's so real. I swear, like, I swear, like, you deliver that seminar, you just do it, you just yap, and then you have like the Q&A session, and then you have the forced networking before and afterwards, and then you just go home at the end of the day and you just can't function. Like, it's meant to be like 1-2 hours, and it ends up just destroying the whole day. Like, I've just accepted that now, like, if I'm doing an in-person seminar, I'm just not doing anything else for the rest of the day, and I tell people as much. Yeah, seminar brain. Like, you just don't function afterwards. You just cease to exist. Oh dear. Hang on, I'm gonna drink some water because I'm like, I think I need to cough again. I'm so sorry. Do you have trouble recognizing people's ethnicities accurately as well? Yes, I'm really bad at it. Basically, the thing that gives it away to me is like accent. And as far as I'm concerned, if I don't think you have an accent, then you're from the UK, and that's the end of it. And I've actually had some like weird interactions because of that. There was one time where I did like an internship at a... I don't know why I was about to tell you where I did my internship. I'm not telling you where I did my internship, but I did an internship, right? And one of the people that was on my team as part of the internship was another intern who was specializing in like creative stuff. Like, she was like a design intern. And like, I fully spent like 3 months with this girl. We were just like talking all the time. And then at some point towards the end of summer, we were like talking about going back to uni. And she was like, oh, you know, I'm kind of like stressed. You know, I've obviously been working, and it's because I need to pay my tuition fees. And I was like, why are you paying tuition fees? Why didn't you just get student finance? And she was like, what do you mean? Why did I get student finance? I can't. And I was like, why can't you get student finance? I can help you apply if you need to. And she was like, I'm from Nigeria. And I was like, what? You're not from London? I swear, I thought she was from London. I just assumed. And I felt so bad because then I was like, oh no, I'm sorry. I thought you would be able to get student finance. I'm sorry. And she got really upset about it as well. Like, she was really, really upset. Like, she didn't talk to me for the rest of the internship because, like, yeah, she was very, very angry. This is why we don't make assumptions. I know, it was terrible. It was terrible. I should not have done that. But also, as far as I was concerned, she had a British accent and therefore she was British. So I just forget that people are from other places sometimes. I mean, I do it less now that I live in Ireland, obviously, because I'm like, people obviously here aren't, well, you know, unless they tell me they're British, they're not British probably. So yeah. It's probably still better than assuming in the other direction. One would think so, but apparently not. I angered a lot of people online thinking they're from the US. I think they got used to it. Yeah, to be fair, I'm kind of used to it. Like, I'm used to people assuming that I'm American to some extent. Although I do feel like when people come into streams, it's kind of obvious that I'm not American, right? I think it's very obvious I'm not American, but yeah. I've had a few people come in and be like, wow, accent. Accent. Not expecting that. And I'm like, yes, hello, I am in fact aggressively British. I'm so sorry. It's so obvious you're not American, you're Australian. Get out. I'm not Australian. Which state is your accent from? Queensland, apparently. Oh dear. I used to love everything we learned in school, so other people either thought I was annoying because I'd asked too many questions in class, or I thought it was awesome because I'd be happy and excited about things. Yeah, right? This is what I mean. Like nerdy, what's the word? Like solidarity. Everybody is just excited to support each other and their interests. I think the real difference is between people who are excited about things and interested about things, and then like people who are not. Because like people that were like not in the quote unquote nerdy group, but who were really, really into like football or something, like they always got on really well. So yeah. So there's an ad break running right now. I'm gonna BRB for literally like 2 seconds because I need to go and blow my nose. I apologize. So I'm sorry. I will be back in, well, as soon as I can be. Yes. See you in a second. Did you see my hat being cut off? Pretend you didn't see that. That was very immersion breaking. Very smooth exit with no graphical errors. Exactly. Let's see if I can come back without it happening this time. Hello. No graphical errors were seen on this day. There's not a single graphical error happening. It's a lie. It's a lie. Scuff on a Psydere stream? Could never. Okay, I feel a lot better now. I feel a lot better. I have made my throat and nose feel a bit happier, so we can actually like we can actually like you know, answer questions without me having to pause every 3 seconds. Hello, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow, God Coochie. Goodness gracious, that is one heck of a username. Welcome in. I think it's going to be fun to research this one. Welcome in. I hope you're good. Oh gosh. Okay. Thank you for the hydrate. Also, Torgamus, thank you. I will drink. Wait, if I go like this, can you hear the echo of my bottle? I must know. I don't know why I keep doing this to you. I'm so sorry. I don't know why, but you have the vibe of someone that has never played Valve games in their life. That's valid. That's valid. I have never played Half-Life, if that counts. I have played Portal though. Like I'm a scientist. Do you think I haven't played Portal? I've played Portal. We do science. But that's literally it. That's literally it. Hi, the giant Ewok. Hi, welcome in. Bottle, fake Brit. I know, it's terrible. It's terrible. If you catch me when I'm not like paying attention, I do say bottle though. So to be fair, like I'm not fake Brit. I'm just trying to make myself a bit easier to understand. Bottle of water. Yeah. Bottle of water. Tuesday. Solid gold. Bobo. You don't understand. I'm like obsessed with this woman. There's like this British woman, and she got a Labubu, and she just spray painted it gold. And then she does these really stupid like scientific tests on it. She'll like get her car keys and like press it against this like spray painted Labubu, and she'll be like, I have got the world's only solid gold Labubu. I'm testing it. And then she gets the car keys and then just like it just puts on some kind of low resolution image, like sound alert. It's so funny. I love her so much. I love her so much. The Labubu lady, yeah. Oh my god, I love her. She's so funny. That's how my accent used to sound, everybody. If you look up the 24 karat gold Labubu, that's how I used to sound before I went to university. That is my accent that I originally had, and I got rid of it. You can still hear it sometimes because I do fear that I do kind of say Labubu. Oh god, Labubu mentioned. Fi instantly appears in chat. Hi Fi, how you doing? I hope you're good. Labubu VTuber model, no. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? This would be the funniest bit. Mylin, you could do the funniest thing right now. Oh dear. Oh no. My only question is for who? In theory, you could make like a YCH model, right? You can make like a YCH model and then just change the colors. Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. Don't even. I literally do that every time that we walk past an advert. Husmod will verify this. Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday, and right now you can save £50, goodness gracious, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4. It's me. It's literally me. Not again. You will never escape the Jet2 holiday, and right now you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I have the world's only Psydere Labubu. Pokes it with a feet thermometer. Oh, sorry. I have the world's only Psydere Labubu. I can't. This is not science. We have veered off the beaten track of science today so badly. What is going on? How did this happen? Oh my gosh. The currency pound isn't
Hello,
pound. Yes, that is the plural.
Yuris. Psydere, apologies. I hope these questions are all right. Psydere, can face blindness also explain why you could not be in Psychologist who diagnosed people? And face blindness means you can't be in people person big sad. Psydere, your life with face blindness seemed tragic, like in Shakespeare play.
Thank you for the 21 bits, Salzaz. Thank you. So, okay, so to be fair, ow, I meant to do that. To be fair, okay, I don't think that me not being a clinical psychologist, so a psychologist that diagnoses people is a clinical psychologist. I don't think that me having face blindness or even me being autistic is anything to do with me not being a clinical psychologist. I think it just doesn't fit my personality. Because I find it, I think I'm a bit, I would say on the like introvert to extrovert spectrum, I definitely lean more extrovert. But I think I'm like, you know, in the middle of the distribution, but like on the upper end of the middle, if that makes sense. Like I enjoy talking to people. I get a lot of energy from talking to people, but I also find it very tiring. So it was more just like the type of work just didn't really fit with my personality. To be fair, autism might have played a bit of a role in it because I would also get very like sensory overloaded and I'd have to be masking loads when I was working in a clinical setting, and it would just be so much. It would be so tiring. So that might have played a little bit, but I think it just boiled down to like it just wasn't where my skills were and it wasn't where my interests were in the end. Like I care about helping people, but I wasn't willing to help people at the sacrifice of my own mental health and at the sacrifice of my own well-being generally. On top of that, to be a clinical psychologist in Ireland, you have to be able to drive. And I am a menace to society, so I've been banned from driving, not for any bad reason. It's just like an autism thing. Like I don't process information fast enough. So I couldn't be one even if I wanted to be one. But like I said, I think it's more of a personality thing. I just enjoy doing research more. Like the things that I find interesting and fun to do are kind of a bit more repetitive versus like sitting down and talking to people and teaching them skills. Like I think that that's super, super valuable and so important. It's just not what I enjoy doing. So yeah, I think that's more it than anything else. Yeah. But like, to be fair, face blindness isn't really a problem so much in a clinical setting. At least if you're doing one-to-one sessions, it can be a bit of a problem in a group setting sometimes. But again, like when people are talking and like when you're seeing them regularly, like you can work out things that are not to do with their face to kind of work out who they are. So for example, like people might wear similar outfits every time you see them, or they might have a distinctive accent or something like that. And like normally there would be enough variation in a group that I would be able to tell people apart from those kind of context clues, if that makes sense. If you're doing one-to-one, like you have like notes and stuff, like you have scheduled appointments, you know exactly who you're meeting with regardless. That being said, if somebody random turned up to a session in place of one of the clients, I wouldn't have been able to tell who it was until they started talking. So yeah, I don't think that the face blindness is inherently the reason. Yeah. Also, thank you Up and Down for the follow. Thank you. Welcome in. I hope you're good. And also, hi Pseudo Lab. I don't know if I said hello to you yet, but hello. I have a friend who didn't recognize me for the first 5 years we knew each other. Yeah, that's a mood. My face blindness makes it hard to make characters in games when you can mess with their faces. Yeah, actually, if it's like photorealistic, I'm the same. If it's like, I find it so much easier when you can just kind of cycle through like different options of like hairstyles and face like layouts and stuff like that, because to be honest, it's always the thing that I spend the least time on. I spend more time on like the hair and the clothes than I do on the face, because I'm just like, well, a face is a face, you know. Like I don't really know what's going on here. Like I'll kind of aim to like have the right eye color, I guess. Hang on. I'm like really far behind on chat again. I'm so sorry. I thought learning to people was the job description of a psychologist. Not for me. I study people. I don't learn how to people. I'm scared of them, frankly. I'm scared of them. Do you have... Oh, wait, I haven't said that. It takes me 3 months to lock in on a name unless it's a kid in my class. I'm a teacher who keeps mucking up. Yeah, honestly... I'm okay at like remembering actual names, but I'm really bad at associating it to the face. So like I will know cognitively, like, I don't know, let's say for example, if I'm teaching a stats class, I will know cognitively like, oh, what is literally the most generic Irish name I can think of? Aoife. I know that Aoife has been struggling with logistic regression. I will know that like cognitively, but then if you put me in the class, I won't know who Aoife is. Like, unless like she's done something that makes her stick out. Like I remember the people that have got like blue hair, for example. I remember the people that like wear a t-shirt that I think is cool, but otherwise I'm like, I don't know who you are. Oh dear. No graphical errors were harmed in the making of this stream. Exactly. Hello, Doc Rect. Do you have your Poor Scream outfit? Wait, this one? It's the same outfit. It's the same outfit. It's just simplified. But yes, my new model, my 2.0 model that will be debuting at some point in the summer. Keep an eye on social media and the Discord for the exact date. I swear it's coming soon. That it's gonna have like the exact outfit. I think we've changed like literally like very, very, very minor things. Like I think we like moved this, like the little little badge, the little brooch thingy. We moved it to the other side because I was like, the asymmetry is it's too loaded on one side. I need to fix it. It's bothering me. But yes. Yes. Aside from that, it's largely the same. I have a feeling if you'd be Polish, you'd be very like Kasia Babis. Who is Kasia Babis? I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Wait. Oh, wait, she illustrated an MLP book? That's so based. That's so cool. I might look into her. I can just about say Grzegorz Benczyszkiewicz. So I'm basically Polish, right? Oh dear. Oh dear. Let's see. Where are we? Okay. This is all the Labubu posting. I think I'm up to date with chat now. But yes, the plural of the currency pound is indeed pounds. That is correct, Flatulence Incarnate. I just say pound because here in Ireland, people don't say euros plural, they say euro. So they will say €7. And I have got into the bad habit of doing it also with pounds. Oh dear. Also, hi, Saladawari. Hi. How are you? I hope you're good. Have a great Sunday. Thank you. I hope you're having a great Sunday. I hope you also have a great Sunday. I gain energy by talking and interacting with my 4 to 5 people, but lose energy by talking to anyone outside of that. I'm a grey parrot for real. See, I'm kind of like, I'm very variable. I have people who are like safe, if that makes sense. Like they don't tire me out. But also generally, I enjoy talking to new people, but I also find it very tiring, you know? Like I find it enjoyable, but also extremely tiring. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know. Hi, Skellytones. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you're good. Heading out, Tingmen PLC. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Yeah. Face blindness wouldn't impact much because you can still see facial expressions with prosopagnosia generally. Yeah, but the thing is that I've got the double whammy of face blindness and autism. So like, I don't look at your face full stop. Yes. I do not look at people's faces in general. Faces give me anxiety. Please do not make eye contact with me. Do not perceive me. I don't like that at all. I have multiple stories from friends of at some point in elementary or middle school of me just going, who are you? Yeah, genuinely every single friend that I have is the same. Like every time like someone would come into school and they've like dyed their hair or something, or they're like in like sixth form / college when we were like wearing our own clothes finally, it would be like they'd be like, I'm trying out a new style, what do you all think? And I'd be like, who are you? I literally don't know who you are, don't talk to me. And then I'd realize who they were and I'd be like, oh, sorry. I got a recommended from Twitch about this stream and I think it's cool. How you're doing with chat. Thank you so much, up and down it. Thank you. I swear I am actually going to do Q&A at some point. This is meant to be a Q&A stream where people ask me science questions because I am actually a scientist. I have like a PhD and stuff, but I get distracted. I like the yapping. What can I say? The yap is too powerful. The yap is too powerful. I'm the complete opposite. I recognize a face and tie person to it, but names, I have no clue. Isn't it interesting how people vary like this? This is one of my favorite things about psychology, is how people are like opposites in exactly this way. Or like, you know, people vary along a spectrum on various things. It's so fascinating. This is one of the things that got me interested in psychology, is like, why are people like that? Why are people like that? Oh dear. Maybe that's because you grade the tests with only their names linked to them. Yeah, I think that's the thing, because like I knew a few of the students because like I'd done a summer school with them to like basically there were some students that like took part in a summer school that I organized, and I knew them because I'd been like forcibly stuck in a room with them for 7 days, and it was quite a small cohort. And they also all had quite big personalities, so it was quite easy to get to know them. But also like their faces and their work was often linked together. So I would also be like, okay, this is this person. I don't know why I said faces. I literally didn't recognize their faces, but their vibe, their personhood was linked to their work. And then, yeah, I could kind of like, you know, match up names and people and work quite easily. But then some of them then actually like ended up, you know, doing the degree and spending time in class. And I'd be like, some of them I recognized, some of them I didn't. But like the ones that I recognized would be normally the ones that like I thought did a really good job and were really receptive to feedback. So make a good impression on your teachers. It might help. When you mention patients will be scheduled, you have notes and know you're meeting with. I pictured a psychologist with a camera crew and a net gun hunting people. That one looks like they have trauma to process, chat. We're doing that one. That would be funny. I would watch that. I would watch that. That would also be horrifically unethical though. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. I just entirely relied on the notes. Like I was not very good at like remembering things about people ever. Well, it kind of depends. This is the thing. I'm bad at remembering things about people. So people will tell me like 7 times. I still don't know the name of like my PhD supervisor's children, to be honest. Like I think I kind of know one of their names because I like the name, but the other one I've forgotten the name of it and I feel so bad. Also it. Why did I just refer to a child as an it? This is a fully sentient being. But like I don't remember one of their names, and at this point I'm too scared to ask. Because it's like it's been 5 years. I just don't remember. But then I remember things that like I'm very, very interested in. So like my advisor was like from a place on Earth that I found very interesting, and I was like, tell me more about this. And I clung on to every single word. I swear, I have memorized all of it. It's like a Wikipedia in my brain. And like VTubers, I'm good at remembering things about VTubers as well. But then like other scientists, I forget because I'm like, we work together. I forget things about you as a person. I'm sorry. She had a podcast in English called Women in STEM if you want to check her out. Oh, amazing. Amazing. I will check that out. Thank you. Thank you for the recommendation. We love that. It's not poundapodes. Oh my gosh.
Psydere? Do you have an endophasia, which is no inner monologue?
Thank you for the 12-bit Sarazaz. Thank you. Do I have an endophasia? No inner monologue. I have an inner monologue. It's constantly talking. That's why I'm so good at yapping, is because I'm just converting my inner monologue into external monologue. I wish I was joking. Like, I don't really have mental images, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of like, so I what is it, like aphantasia? I think aphantasia is the one where you don't really have mental images. I have a bit of that, and I think it's probably linked to the prosopagnosia a little bit. I don't know why. I can't, if you ask me to shut my eyes and like imagine someone, I just can't. I can't see them. But I do, basically I process everything in language. And I think this is why I ended up going into like psychology instead of like a natural science. Because for natural sciences, often you do need to be able to like visualize things or to mentally rotate shapes and stuff like that. And I'm not bad at it. I'm pretty good at it, but it's just like rotating things I'm good at. Mental images, I don't have them basically. Like I can draw stuff from memory, but I have to work it out. If that makes sense. Like I sketch it and I kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. I basically like remember things as concepts rather than images. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes any sense. Probably sounds similar to my native language. I think you pronounced it well. Thank you. Thank you. I'm doing my best. Also, hi Anwick. Hi. I hope you're good. I generally use quid. Yeah, see, I used to when I was younger, and for some reason I stopped. I don't know why. I stopped saying quid, But yeah, now I'm very, because like I kind of like in my life I use a mishmash of euros and pounds, and yeah, I've picked up the Irish habit of saying euro and pound instead of euros plural and pounds plural, and I think that's quite funny that that's one of the things that seeped into my language. That and like, oh, it's grand. Like those are the two big things. The two big things that like Ireland has done to me. Yes. Yes, yes. Save eye contact for marriage. I didn't even save eye contact for marriage. I think I have looked at Husmod's eyes literally like 4 times in our entire marriage, so. Saving eye contact for marriage is a lie. If you don't do eye contact before marriage, you still won't do it after. You may be a psychologist, but you're a yapper first and foremost. It's true. It's true. It's so true. I mean, why not both, right? Why not both? Why not both? Got a science question. Excellent. We like that. We like science questions. Okay. What's generally your favorite mechanism in any field? I've always loved playing with magnetism, and it's only gotten worse since I learned how to work with electromagnets. That's so fun. That's so fun. There's also a lot of social mechanisms that I find fun and interesting too. My favorite mechanisms, I think, to be honest, it's a psychology one, and I think it's just like cognitive biases in general. Yeah. I think it's cognitive biases in general. Like, for example, you can just throw in like an anchoring effect in daily conversation, and if you know that you're doing it and the other person isn't entirely aware that you're doing it, it can be just really fun to observe it. Stuff like that. I'm not saying that you should go out and manipulate people with you know, cognitive biases. That's not good. Don't do that. But I'm just saying, like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. That, and then like I like really observing like people's like herd tendencies as well, like the conformity. When people like when you start noticing things, you can't unsee it. I remember this is like really, really random, but I genuinely think that one of the things that got me interested in social psychology was like, it's so silly, but me and my dad went to the cinema. I think I was maybe like 13. We went to the cinema, and he was like, Psydere, come here. We're going to do a social experiment. I was like, that sounds fun. What are we doing? He was like, I'm going to park my car at the other end of the car park, because everybody normally just like parks as close to the entrance as possible, right? He was like, I'm going to park our car at the other end of the car park, right? There's nobody there. Like that entire half of the car park is entirely empty. And I can guarantee you, when we come back after the film in 2-3 hours time, there will be people parked next to us. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. And then we came back after the film and there were people parked next to us. Like, most of the car park was entirely empty. Most people were like by, you know, like the entrance of the cinema. But then there was like a massive gap. And then there was like a cluster of people that had been building up around our car. And that was one of the moments where I was like, oh my gosh, people are so silly. Why do they do that? That's so illogical. Why are they doing that? And I think that's one of the things that like pushed me down the psychology rabbit hole. So thanks, Dad. Thanks for bullying people and showing me that it can be interesting. I catch myself referring to children as lava. That's very, very funny. That's very funny. I might do that too. I have referred to them as creatures a few times. I don't remember my advisor's kids' names, but I do remember that she used to tell students their names were Chuki and Chef. Or Shifa. That's so funny. I love that so much. I always work and ask questions using general terms like nippers, etc. Nippers is such a British term. That's such a Britishism. I love that. And then wait for them to explain what each one has done, giving the name, and then work from that. That's so smart. That's big brain. That's big brain. Yeah. My inner monologue never shuts up. It's kind of annoying. That's such a mood. I have managed to train it to stop sometimes though now. Like, I can actually just go and lie down and stare at the wall and have like 2 minutes of nothing now. You have to teach yourself how to do it though. Now I'm wondering if being face blind has something to do with choosing a VTuber model with a very simple face. See, okay, to be fair, this model, like Mylin made this model in 6 hours as a joke, basically, but then I started using it as my serious model because I love it. It was a bit that went too far, basically. I do have like a more detailed model. So it's not like an aesthetic choice, but well, it's not an aesthetic choice that's linked to being face blind, but I do think that being a VTuber is linked to being face blind, because if I'm looking at like streamers who use face cam streams, I can't, like, again, unless there's something distinctive about them, I can't tell them apart from other people. So like, for example, we will use an example, okay? Thinking of other science streamers, okay? I can tell apart Moohoodles, who does like, you know, like astronomy, astrophysics, astrobiology content, and I can tell her apart from Tiny Toxic Tofu, who does like physics, like kind of more like I guess more general physics. Like she does a lot of like equations and stuff. Her training's in like something to do with batteries. She explained it once, and she's explained it many times, and I'm not smart enough to remember. But like I can tell them apart. But the reason why I can tell them apart, if you just put their faces right next to each other, I wouldn't be able to. And the reason why I can tell them apart is, first of all, they have different accents, and second of all, they have different hair colors, and obviously they also do different content. Like I can tell them apart by their content too. That goes without saying. But like genuinely, like if you swapped their voices over and swapped their hair color over, I think I would just accept like, oh yeah, I guess this is Tofu. Like for example, I wouldn't question it. So, but with VTubers, I can always tell apart the characters every single time, because again, I don't really look at the faces. Even with the characters, I don't really look at the faces. I look at the kind of whole design. And I think that VTuber designs are like, they're very focused on standing out, right? You have to stand out because there's so many VTubers now. So you have to have something about your design that stands out. So it's really, really easy to tell them apart. Whereas like if I have a lineup of like 5 humans in front of me and they all have like, they're like the same gender and have the same hair color and are wearing similar clothes, I can't tell them apart. I genuinely just can't. So so I think I've chosen VTubing like partially because obviously like I'm a weeb. Let's be honest. Partially because I'm a weeb, but partially because it just is, it as a community, it just fits my needs a bit better, you know? I don't know if that makes sense. I'm about to join the aforementioned Justice for Husmod movement. Okay, but hear me out. Hear me out. What if I make you pasta for dinner? Would that be enough justice? I'm offering to make dinner right now. I want to make it. I want to make pasta. I drive a hard bargain. I drive a hard bargain. Then you don't need to join the Justice for Husmod movement. I will consider it. Let's go. That's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. I've been living in Yorkshire for a fair few years now, like 18 years. So some of the things I say, yeah, I feel that. That's me with Ireland. I've been here for like 5 years now, and I've definitely picked up some things. And I've also, but I also have maintained many things from where I was originally. Yes. Yeah, that reminds me of the experiments on conformity and the way people face in elevators. I love those. Those like videos, they are so good at demonstrating the concept. It makes me so happy. But it also makes me laugh because like very similar things have happened to me before and I just ignore it. So I think that that's the autism at work. Oh dear. Wait until the 2.0 debut. I probably spent 20 plus hours on that phase. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I'm excited. It's going to be so good. I'm really excited. Thank you, Mylan. It looks like an Adventure Time character. Yeah, it's meant to. Wait, if I zoom out, I can show you. There you go. It is me. I mean, I've even got the hat, to be fair. So the hat comes off. Yeah. I look like an Adventure Time character because this is an Adventure Time styled model. Yes. We love it. We love it. Also, hi, Kiss Killer Zero. Thank you so much for the follow. Sorry, I was yapping. I apologize. Can you tell me why I hate phone calls and liken them to someone entering your house without permission? That's such a good question. I don't know. I don't know. That sounds like it's possibly more
Yay 8.
like. Thank you so much for the resub, UFCO. What the heck? What the heck? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been 8 months already. That's wild. That's wild. Thank you so much. You're going to be you're getting closer to having an entire year-long research assistant contract. How does that make you feel? You've been researching for a whole year. Thank you. Just gonna lurk today, no problem. I hope you enjoy your lurk. Thank you for lurking. I hope you have a good day, and whatever you do is good. I hope you're doing some stuff that is good. Yes. And also thank you, Coming Belladonna, for the Life Safe Register check-in as well, and also Yavco as well. Thank you both. And also Anwick, hello. Thank you for the lab safety register check-in as well. Thank you. But yeah, why phone calls feel like someone entering your house without permission? I don't know. That sounds like it might be more down the kind of clinical avenue, to be honest, because I don't know. Like, that might be like a boundaries thing, or like how you define your personal space, and like whether you like people being in your personal space. I don't know. That might be it. I guess I don't like people coming into my house. I don't know why. It just feels like a violation of my space. So maybe it's kind of similar to that. Maybe it's just like that's how you define your like your personal bubble. Because like obviously we have like a physical like personal space bubble around us, but I think there's like a psychological one as well, where like, where's my music gone? I think there's a psychological one as well, where yeah, certain things just kind of feel like they shouldn't be happening. And they don't, they just feel uncomfortable. Yeah. So that might be it. I don't know though. I don't know for certain. Might be the kind of thing that you could unpack with a little bit of retrospection. No, I'm messing up so badly I can't speak. Brilliant. Might be a thing to unpack with a little bit of introspection. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. This is why I've muted all of my Discord notifications. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm really bad for messages in general. Like I'm very bad at replying, and it's because I find them overwhelming. So I turn off all of my notifications, and then I just get to it when I can, basically. Like when I feel ready. It's so weird because like I can jump onto a voice call with somebody and be completely fine. Like I would just talk to them. I'm the opposite. I'm a cool person. I am like, please call me. I hate messaging. Because if I message, then I forget about it very, very quickly. Whereas like if we talk, I might remember that we've talked. Yeah. Simple styles can be very, very elegant. Several painting styles I like for miniatures have some simplicity techniques for large armies. They look very clean and well put together versus some of the grimdark styles that are complex and full of grime. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, different things are good for different contexts, right? I do think that like VTubers in general, I feel like tend to have quite elaborate designs. So having something that's like simple and stylistically different is probably helps to pop out. Like it helps with that pattern disruption that we talked about the other day. And I wonder if it's kind of like the same thing. Yeah, I wonder. Humans have terrible character design. It's so true. Why are we designed like that? So sad. So sad. VTubers are more interesting to look at than humans. It's true. It's true. Like, you know, because people can actually like sit down and think like, okay, how am I going to design my character? Like, what do I want? What symbolism do I want on it? What colors do I want? Like, how can I make a cohesive palette? How can I make an interesting silhouette? Stuff like that. Like, there's a lot more work that you can put into it. Whereas thinking about like, you're a bit more limited in terms of, you know, being a person. Because it's like, for example, like I can't just change my body shape for the sake of a more interesting silhouette or like a different silhouette, you know? Whereas you can do that as a VTuber, so that's pretty fun. Yeah, no, you're not silly for thinking that I look like Finn's mum. You are not silly at all. It is genuinely Adventure Time styled. Yes, yes. Coming to one's house is much more annoying, like imposed by social convention to be polite and interact with you, leaving one's safe space. Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not gonna lie. It makes me nervous when people are in my house and there's not even a reason for it. It's not like I feel like they're gonna judge me. It's just like, this is the place where I can just be not thinking about things and you are making me think about things now and I do not like that. Quack, I agree. Quack. But yeah, I get that. I get that. Also, hi Erin, hi. I hope you're good. I feel like when I go to someone else's place, I also mentally define the space that is for guests and the space that is not. See, I'm really bad at doing that, so I will just go through all of the cupboards. I'm also the worst person to have around at your house, you know? I'm the worst. And also, like, I've lived in places that are like not not separated out like that for such a long time. Like, I've been living in either shared accommodation or like apartments for the last decade. I no longer process that there is an area for guests and an area that is not for guests, because that just doesn't exist. Everything is accessible. It is all one floor. You are lucky if you even have your own bathroom type of situation. So maybe that's something that I will one day learn again. One day. One day. Who knows? And also thank you, Flufflebun, for the follow. Welcome in. Welcome in. I hope you're good. I hope you're good.
Adventure Time is also the best TV show series in existence. So you Psydere, having an Adventure Time model is truly awesome, and your Adventure Time VTuber model by Mylan Aikman is the best VTuber model in existence. Psydere.
Thank you so much for the 12 bits, and thank you, Zaz. I agree. Mylan did such a good job. They did such a good job on this model, and they've done an amazing job on my 2.0 model as well. I'm really, really excited. That being said, I think I've said before, and I will say it again, I'm a weeb. Fundamentally, I'm a weeb, so I will always like anime-styled things. I do also like Adventure Time a lot. I love Adventure Time. There are other series that I love too, that have different styles. And my like ultimate goal, I think this is very silly, and probably like this is long-term goal. Like, this is not anytime soon, but my long-term goal would be to have like different models that I can like in different styles that I can choose between depending on how I feel and what we're doing. I love anime style models, and I will be using the 2.0 a lot. But I will also be using this model too, because I do feel like it's probably a little bit more accessible to people who aren't kind of like into VTuber or anime culture, right? So if I'm talking about something that might be interesting to people outside of like the kind of general otaku sphere, then I will probably use this model. And if I'm talking about something that's like maybe a bit more VTuber-y or a bit more anime related, or I just kind of feel like it, because like the models, I think the two models also have like, they're both Psydere, but I think they have kind of different vibes to them. I feel like this one's a little bit more gremlin and the other one's a little bit more scientist. I don't know if that makes any sense. So I think we'll probably end up mostly using that one for like science streams, definitely. I might whip out this one occasionally for like gaming streams. I might also whip it out for science streams sometimes too, and chatting streams and stuff. But like, I think if I'm feeling chaotic, I'll probably use this one. And then I'll use the other one when I'm doing maybe more serious content, because like I made a serious video a little while back about like competition in VTubing, and I'm not gonna lie, I think I'm happy with that video. I think it was decent, but I did feel kind of weird about the model. I felt like that I love this model, but I feel like it didn't quite fit that vibe of video, if that makes sense. So I would love to have different things that kind of have different vibes, and I can use them depending on the vibe of the content that I'm doing. I don't know if that makes sense, but overall I'm going to be using a mixture of both. Basically, I'm going to be using a mixture of both aesthetics. I have my like starting, I've got a new starting soon screen. That one is anime. The model obviously is, the new model is anime, but then I've got like a stinger animation, and that's Adventure Time styled. And I like to kind of just like, I want to keep using both because they both make me so happy. They both mean a lot to me. Yeah. Yeah. It's like doing your thesis in pajamas. Exactly, Seon. Exactly. It felt like I was sitting down and recording a really serious video in my pajamas. It genuinely kind of felt like that. Or like a silly t-shirt or something. That's exactly what it felt like. It was like, I love this model, but it feels like it's not quite the right vibe for what I'm doing right now. So yeah, more serious things, I think I'll definitely be using that model. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm thinking about it, but I'm going to see how it goes. Obviously, once I actually start using it, because I've been using it to record a bit of like, you know, like teaser content and stuff like that, but I haven't properly, and I've done so much like testing with it and like playing around with parameters and stuff like that because I wanted to get it just right. So I've probably spent, in all honesty, I've probably spent over 10 hours already using the model. But sometimes when you actually start doing content with it, it feels a bit different and it's not in the way that you expected. So I'm going to see how it goes. Because like with this one, I was like, this is going to be my silly model and I'll go back to using the Vroid one sometimes if I'm doing science. And then I was like, no, actually, I just like this one now. The Vroid one had its time. But yeah, it just, I don't know. It came to a point where I was like, it's time to retire the Vroid, you know? This isn't me anymore. Just saw the model wink. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah. Yeah. I did actually get a tracking upgrade a little while back. I finally upgraded because I'm using VBridger now. So yeah, I'm using VBridger on this model now as well. So before I was using like there's like NVIDIA like webcam tracking. I was using that before. And like it was really funny, the difference on the tracking on the Vroid model, which was just using standard CPU like OpenCFace webcam tracking, like to then using the NVIDIA webcam tracking, that was a massive difference. That was such a big difference. It made such a big difference on the tracking. And then like shifting from the NVIDIA tracking to VBridger with an iPhone, that has also been a massive change. And like you can see it in this model. I think you can really see it, like even with small things like the winking, right? Like I can do that now, which I couldn't do before with the NVIDIA tracking because like it just when I tried to, it just wouldn't detect it properly because I've got kind of weird eyes. I've got a weird face. Look at me, I literally look like an Adventure Time character. Of course I've got a weird face. But yeah, it made a big difference. So I'm really excited to like show you what it looks like. I'm very excited. Haven't seen the Vroid one. I'm still putting out like YouTube shorts and stuff that use the Vroid one. I've still got loads of content I need to edit down that use the Vroid one. I think if you have a look on my YouTube channel, there's like a link in the about page and on the about bit somewhere. There's a link to my YouTube channel or on my website. I have a website, Psydere.com. Why am I now the #1 clipper on the clips leaderboard? That's random. But yeah, I have a YouTube channel, and on the YouTube channel, there are a few videos that are using my Vroid model. I think the most recent one, aside from shorts, the most recent one was like the maid outfit debut. Rest in peace, the maid outfit. I used it once and then lost the VRM file. 07. Yeah, 07 to Vroid in general, actually. You're right, Doc Rect. You're right. 07. 07's in chat. Yeah, there's also some old YouTube VODs. That's very, very true. That's very, very true. And also thank you for the follow, Miria. Thank you, thank you. Welcome in. You're now part of the research participation pool. Welcome in. Sultry Psydere is the Psydere 2.0. I don't know if it's sultry, although I feel like if there is potential if I wanted to do that, but I don't want to do that. But at some point I do owe everybody like for the charity stream that we did at the beginning of the year as part of Z's fundraiser. We One of the donation goals was that I have to make a video, which is just 15 minutes of me saying ara ara. And I'm waiting to, like, for that to be with the new model because I think it works better. Because, yeah, it's going to be weird with this model. It works better with the other one. Trust me. Just trust me. Speaking of stream content, I'd like to see more presentation stuff, like the autism presentation. I learned a lot from that. I have that on my list to do. That is on my list of things to do, okay? I will tell you exactly the reason why I haven't done it. It's because it requires prep time. And at the minute, what I'm prioritizing debut stuff. So I think I'll probably start doing a lot more presentations as part of the debut, potentially. But also like onwards from the debut, because yeah, I do want to do more stuff like that. I have like an entire I've had an entire course mapped out that I've basically wanted to do on stream for a very, very long time, which I haven't got around to doing yet. And I do want to do that. Thank you for the follow. How do I say your name? Is it Jazania or is it Yazania? I'm assuming it's like lasagna. Incredible stuff. But yeah, welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. Okay, I should actually look at the questions. I'm getting so distracted today. You can tell I'm sleep deprived because I'm yapping and I'm not staying on topic at all whatsoever. Lasagna with a ja. Okay, good. Jazania. Welcome in. I hope you're good. Okay. Right, where am I? Let's have a look at the questions. Attack on Titan Psydere debut. That would be very funny. Imagine Titan Psydere though. That would be very funny. Let's see. Lasagna made with sliced potato is wonderful instead of pasta. It's more of a shepherd's pie. I guess it sounds like a moussaka, but without the aubergine. I'm a big moussaka enjoyer. Right, where are we at with this? There we go. Responses. Let's have a look. I think there was a lot of questions that I never actually got around to answering on this. Those ones I answered. Let's have a look. That I answered. Oh Lord. I forgot about that question. That I've answered. I think I've answered that too, actually. Hang on. Please give me a minute. I'm looking at the questions. That's a very cute question, but we answered that. Yes. I think I answered that one. I've definitely answered that one. Okay, that's an interesting question. I don't think I've answered this one. So first question that I can see on here is from Lankuri. I think this one... Yeah, you did submit a question ages ago, Astral, and I think I did answer it. I just skipped through them. I was just having a look. So I think you asked... Yes, you asked what was my favourite psychology term, and my answer was pseudo-profound BS. I love that so much. It's an official term. I don't know why I'm censoring myself, but... Pseudo-profound bull poo. It's an official psychological term. Look it up. Okay? Look it up. AOT had a lot of themes about authoritarianism. It did. Yes, and also intergroup conflict and dehumanization. Yes, I've been sitting on a video essay about intergroup conflict in Attack on Titan for literally a year and a half. It is the thing that got me started doing Psydere. I was like, I'm gonna do a video essay about Attack on Titan. And I was like, and then I just never finished it. I've written half the script and I just haven't finished it. Me too. I wonder if we're doing a similar, okay. Spoilers, first of all, for Attack on Titan. What can I do to indicate this? I'm gonna take my hat off and my coat off, okay? If you don't want spoilers, I mean, Attack on Titan's old, so I'll be impressed if you don't know this already. But it's also spoilers for a Psydere video. So when I'm going to take my hat and coat off, and I will put them back on when I've stopped talking about this. So there's going to be spoilers in 5 seconds 5, mute the stream for a second, and then watch for when I've got my hat back. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler equals striptease. Yes. I've just removed my lab coat. Let's be honest, I'm just out of the lab. So basically, my idea for, well, not even my idea, like what I have planned for this video essay, because I swear I will do it at some point. It's literally half written. Was that I was going to focus specifically on this one scene. There is this one scene. I don't remember what season it's in anymore. It's exited my brain, but it's a very, very distinctive scene. I think it might have covered 2 episodes in the anime. I feel like it was somewhere in season 3. And basically there are a bunch of people from oh god, it's been so long since I've watched it and I've forgotten all the words. There's a bunch of people from Mali and there's a bunch of people from Paradis. And they're all like together. They've been forced together and they've all done horrible things to each other. And I also remember this very distinctly because Hanji Zoe is trying to do like a kind of like mediation role almost, and she's doing a terrible job of it. But they're all sat around a campfire. And my idea for this video essay is that I'm going to kind of skim over the rest of the concepts around like intergroup conflict and stuff, but I really just want to nail down onto that part and then the subsequent parts in terms of intergroup contact, because I feel like that was just such a good example that checks off all of the intergroup contact like prerequisites, like having a shared goal, being able to openly discuss like grievances, stuff like that, and then like having shared either respect or disrespect for the authorities involved. Like all of those things, like it checks it off perfectly. So that's what mine's going to be about. I'll put my hat back on now. There we go. I'm done. Yeah. But that's my thinking. Attack on Titan's confusing. I can see that. I mean, I found it fine to follow, but I think that was because I've got like literally training in like intergroup psychology. So yeah, it makes it a bit easier if you already kind of know roughly how things might play out in some respects. Like it makes it a bit easier in that way. I wanted to do the dehumanization aspect specifically because it's so overt. Yes, this would be excellent. Please, please, please do it. We should both make our video essays. They are complimentary. They're complimentary. Okay, this is exactly why I always say, like, we need more science communication people in general, because even if you cover similar topics, you can literally cover the same material and you will do it in totally different ways. I'm a big advocate for this. Have you seen Steins Gate? I have seen Steins Gate. I also started playing the visual novel on stream at one point, and we only got like halfway through the first chapter, and then I disappeared off to do some thesis stuff for a few weeks, and I forgot to keep playing it. So I feel like we should go back to it at some point. Probably. We should probably do that. We need to do the Titan model. Can you imagine? It would be so threatening. Building the Psydere Attack on Titan video essay extended universe. Yeah, there's a VOD. I think I did like two episodes of a playthrough, and we ended up we finished the prologue and half of chapter 1, I think, and then I just dropped it. Like, I just never got around to continuing it because it's obviously a very heavily story-based game, and at the time I wasn't able to do consistent streams, so I couldn't commit to playing through a story-based game. I feel like we're a little bit better at, like, in terms of me being able to commit to stuff now. So we might be able to loop back around and start playing story games again. However, I do want to finish unpacking first. But yeah, I do actually also want to start playing through story-based games because there's a lot of psychology in so many games, and I feel like we should just be playing them. Like, it's, yeah. I feel like that'd go against Twitch's guidelines. What would go against Twitch's guidelines? What am I doing? Am I doing something inappropriate? I'm scared. Oh, the Titan model. Do you know what? I think that if you do it in the right way, I think it would be fine. Because you just need to I don't know if they allow body painting and cosplay, and I'm pretty sure I've seen cosplays of Attack on Titans on stream before. So I think it might be fine, but you would have to do it in the right way so that you could, yeah, make sure you're not infringing on any of the like guidelines. You'd have to be careful, but I think it's possible to do. I'm thinking of playing the visual novel myself, but I'm not sure if it makes sense after seeing the anime. I think it does. My understanding is that the visual novel, it adds a lot of detail in that the anime had to gloss over. And also there's like alternate endings that you could get that are different from the anime. So it's still worth playing it from what I understand, especially if you're a fan of the anime. Like everyone I know who's a fan of the anime is like, you need to play the visual novel. So I do actually want to play it at some point. Maybe we'll play it on stream. I don't know. We might do. Eventually. But I think the next game, like the next story-based game that I want to play, I think on stream is part of me is kind of thinking like we should play Valhalla in the run-up to Christmas. I think that would be really fun. I think that would be really fun because I've never actually finished it. I've never finished it and I want to. So yeah. Out of time to hang out. Have a great rest of your stream. Thank you, Frost. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you, thank you. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Oh no, it's ad time. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. Twitch is afraid of exposed skin, not exposed muscle. It's true, to be fair. It's true. Thank you for the recommendation. That is okay. I'm just, to be fair, I'm passing on what other people have told me, in fairness. I don't actually know because I didn't finish it, but yeah. Okay, where did we get to with the questions? We got to here. That's a good question. I'm gonna run and fill up my water very quickly while we're on an ad break. So I will be back in a second. See you after the ads. Hello, I am back. I have got my water and I am ready to answer some questions. I'm ready to finally answer some questions. Wild. It only took, what, 2 hours? Incredible. I agree with the thing you said about science popularizing. I myself feel that getting multiple views or approaches on a subject can help me remember the subject matter more. Yeah, I think so too, because it makes more connections, right? Learning is literally just building up connections between things in your brain. Like it's just making links between different concepts. So yeah, that makes sense. Just put the Titan in a lab coat made of ship sails, exposed skin, solved. That's such a good idea. That's really cool. I love that. We, the payment processors, have decided that horrible mutilation is better for kids than slightly exposed chest. I do wonder how the response of Twitch would be to an attack, like to a Titan styled model. I do wonder. I'm not sure if I want to test it, but it would be fun. Like, I kind of want to. The little chaos voice in my brain is saying you should totally try that. Oh my gosh. Okay, what are we doing? We are answering some questions. Okay, so we have questions. Where are they? They're here. Here they are. Question. Okay, so there's a question from Lankuri. I don't know if I've answered this one before. I don't think I have, but I think it's a good question. So I'm going to answer it. So the question is, what type of person would you recommend doing a PhD to? Or if not applicable, what inspired you to go for a PhD? So I think that that is a very good question. I don't think that there is a specific type of person that I would recommend to do a PhD. It's very, very much based on individual circumstances. I feel like generally doing a PhD should be the exception rather than like an expectation. Because it's silly. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that to yourself? Yeah, no, I genuinely, why would you do that to yourself? You need to have a reason to want to do it. Like, I think you need to have a few different things. First of all, you need to know how to teach yourself stuff. And like, you need to be in terms of, well, not just teach yourself stuff. You need to be self-motivated in terms of being able to just work on something because you want to work on something. Like, you need to have intrinsic motivation for the thing that you're doing a PhD on. Like, if you go into a PhD and it's on something that, like, you know, you're thinking like, oh yeah, I'm going to study this thing because it's going to get me a good job. Like, I'm going to study this part of, I don't know, machine learning that I'm not super interested in, but I'm going to do it because I need it to get a really good job. Like, you're not, unless you're like a very, very, very extreme type of personality, you're not going to finish it probably. It's difficult. Like, PhDs are difficult. You need to be motivated. You need to care about what you're studying. And if you don't care, then it's so difficult to keep doing it. Yeah. Also, I think you need to be kind of stubborn. You need to be persistent. Like, you need to be able to just keep going even when it's rough. I think to some extent you also need to be assertive in being able to set boundaries, because unfortunately, like, I mean, well, I don't think academia is like a lot of career areas where there are big personalities, and historically some of the work has been based on a fair amount of exploitation. Arguably it still is, and you need to be able to navigate that. So you don't necessarily, I think you can get by without being like super in tune with like what's exploitative and what isn't. I think that's a sense that you develop while you're doing it, but you do need to be able to stand up for yourself, and to say like respectfully go away to certain things. Like, you need to, like, for me, I'm not super in tune with like hierarchy. Like, I just don't really process it very well. I forget. So I never felt like if a professor tells me I should do something, I never felt like that means I have to do it. Like, I would weigh it up as to whether I would do it myself, and then I might go back to them and explain to them, I've not done this for this reason. And my experience is that generally, like, if you're assuming you're not like in a super, super toxic lab, generally, like, they're pretty understanding of that. Like, if you have a reason and you can explain it, then they'll be like, all right, fair enough. So, there are unfortunately some very toxic labs, but I think that goes for any kind of workplace. I think the norms around academia are starting to change. For a long time, it was very much like, you need to be hyper productive. You need to work long hours. I think from what I've seen, at least in Europe, that's starting to change. There's a lot more emphasis on work-life balance now from what I've seen, which is really, really good, because you can't be having people burn out straight away. But yeah, that's like the kind of general things that I would say are probably they're not requirements, but they're like indicators of success from what I've seen. Is, yeah, like, intrinsic motivation to study the thing that you're studying, like being self-motivated, not needing to be told do this thing, like just proactively doing it, being able to stand up for yourself and like assert your boundaries, and I've already forgotten what the other thing was. Being stubborn, just being able to persist. Yeah, I think those are the main things. Oh dear. With a PhD, you need to do it because you need to do it because you need to do it. If you can't do, you can't do because it's frustrating. Yeah, exactly. Like doing a PhD is super frustrating. Like there needs to be an actual reason that you're doing it. Like, and to be fair, for some people, I do think that like just the joy of learning and researching, that is a reason for some people. Like they don't necessarily think like at the end, I want a career and I have to do a PhD to get to that career. But I think for the majority of people, that's probably a sensible way to think about it, because most PhDs now will not end up in academia. Like it's the majority. It's the majority. We're not in a time where like if you do a PhD, like that's super rare. Like you are like 0.1% of the population and you're guaranteed some kind of postdoc and then professorship afterwards. Like it just doesn't work like that anymore. There are more PhD graduates than there are assistant professorships. So there is a lot of competition for those roles. And same for postdocs. There's also more PhDs graduating than there are postdocs. So you need to, even if you're like, okay, I want to be a scientist at the end, like I think you need to keep the kind of broad goal in mind. And again, I do think that like, you know, I'm doing a PhD because I want to do research. Like I'm just really, really interested in this topic. For some people, that's enough of a motivation. That can be enough to get them through. But yeah, I think you don't do a PhD because you think it's the right thing to do, just because other people are telling you. And also, to be honest, I kind of, when people are asking me this question in real life, I kind of caution them in terms of doing a PhD to become an academic now, because it is just so competitive. Like you need to have a certain mindset, but you also need to be able to network with the right people in the right way. And I'm not convinced that a PhD is always necessary for industry. I think that, at least from what I've seen in the UK, a lot of industry is very much like you can have a master's and we will train you up on the job. Like we care more about experience. So yeah, I'm not convinced it's sensible for most people. I'm very, very lucky because although I've not stayed in academia, I didn't want to stay in academia. Like I was doing a PhD so that I could be a psychology researcher, but I wasn't expecting to stay in academia. I thought originally I was going to go into like either user research or like behavior science. Like those were the things that I was considering originally. I was also thinking about going into policy work, but I didn't in the end. I got an actual research job that's basically academia but without the academia bits. I get to do research and teaching and administration, but I choose the balance between them. And I also get very, very encouraged to do my science communication. So I feel like I've kind of won. I'm not going to lie. I'm very grateful for my job. But my job it didn't need a PhD, but I think that it helps a lot, because you need, like a big part of my job is like applying for funding and stuff like that. And you get a lot more experience doing that if you're kind of like from a science background and you've had experience of applying for smaller funding pots during a PhD. Whereas like for a master's in the UK and Ireland, like you wouldn't really do that because it's a taught master's. You just do it for a year. So yeah, that's my thinking on it. It doesn't have to be a good reason, just a reason that you're willing to push through for. And a lot of these non-academic jobs don't require a PhD. Exactly. Like you just need to have a goal that keeps you going. Face blind and also blind to the violence inherent in the system. Okay, I'm definitely not blind to that, to be fair, but what I am blind to is my position in the system sometimes. Or like, no, that's not even true. That's not even true, actually. I am aware of my position in the system. That's the worst part. It's more just like when I'm interacting with people, I'm not good at placing both of us. I don't know if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't. It probably doesn't. Also, thank you, Uber Eats official account, for the follow. Not sure if actually the official account, probably not, but regardless, that's a great name. Welcome in. Let me do user research on your users. I want to research your users. Please give me your data. What career options does a PhD open up versus a master's or a bachelor's? So I can only really speak for the UK and Ireland.
Psydere, technically your gender might have helped with you being treated better while you was getting an PhD, and lab head might be less likely to treat an female PhD student badly, compared to a male PhD student. No offense intended, Psydere.
No, thank you for the 12 bits, and thank you for the question. Well, not question, I guess it's a... What's the word? Premise? Statement? I'm not sure what's the right word. Thank you. So I think that hypothesis, conjecture, comment. Yes, it's more of a comment than a question. Exactly. It's more of a comment than a question. So I think it's an interesting idea. I think it is very, very context dependent. I'm very, very lucky. I'm in social psychology, right? So the majority of people that I've worked with whilst I was doing my PhD were also women. Like, social psychology is very female dominated. Unfortunately, the women that I know that have been in labs that were less female dominated have been very, very variable experiences. So I think that different people process gender dynamics in different ways, and there are different gender balances in different fields, and those things kind of compound on each other, right? Yeah. So there might be situations where a lab head might treat a female PhD student nice, but there are also many, many situations where a lab head might treat a female PhD student worse. Unfortunately, there are many, many stories of just overt sexism in science. Thankfully, it is becoming less of a thing. Like I said, I've been super lucky. I've had like one experience that I think might have been a bit of that, but otherwise, like I've been really, really lucky. Like, things have just been broadly very, very good. I do know people that have unfortunately had very bad experiences along those lines, though. So yeah, it varies a lot. It varies a lot. But like, psychology has a kind of weird dynamic because, like, social psychology, first of all, the department where I did my PhD was just a bit weird in general because it was like very, very gender balanced in general, which is not really a thing that you see in academia full stop, but especially not in psychology. Normally what you'd see in psychology is that like the grad students are like 80-90% women, and you know, the remaining 10-20% are men and non-binary people. And then as you go up through the ranks, it gets progressively more male dominated. So if you look at professors, normally the majority of professors are men. But yeah, like I said, my department was a bit weird in that respect because they've like been scouting and promoting people on purpose to make sure that that doesn't happen. Not in like a malicious way, like that. It's been very meritocracy based, but I think it's more just like once a department has a reputation for something, people kind of move to it on the basis of it, if that makes sense. So I think my department that I was in had a very good reputation in terms of like gender equality, and it meant that women who wanted to become professors and had the CV to become a professor were more likely to move to it. I don't know if that makes sense. But like, speaking to people in the department, that's kind of the vibe that I got. So yeah, it's complicated. TLDR, it's complicated. But yeah, what career options open up if you do a PhD versus a master's or a bachelor's? So I can only speak for the UK and Ireland. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna shorthand it to the UK because I'm lazy. And also I know the BPS better than I know the Irish equivalent. So I'm actually just going to speak about the UK saying that. I'm just going to talk about it in terms
in the context
of
of the Me Too era, that male lab head might be concerned of treating female PhD badly in modern society.
Thank you for the 12 bits. Thank you, Zaz. Thank you. Yeah, it's a valid point. It's a valid point. There is a fair bit of research on this, actually. There is a fair bit of research on it. There are sometimes... Normally that anxiety, as far as I understand it based on the literature, that anxiety actually seems to manifest more as like avoidance behavior. So it won't be that like a man, like say there's a male professor, if he's feeling anxiety around that, it won't be that he like treats women better because of it. It will be that he avoids them. So at least that's all of the evidence that I've seen points to that. But yeah, to be honest, it's a bit of a rabbit hole that I don't really want to go down because it's one of those things where we should be able to just talk about it because it's important for like dynamic, like meta science dynamics, right? It's like thinking about who is doing science is super, super important for meta science, but it's also really, really politicized. So talking about it scares me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I think I need to think very carefully about what I say about it, if that makes sense. So I think it's the kind of topic that I'd rather do as a lecture where I can like, you know, verify facts and stuff like that rather than just kind of answer questions off the cuff on it. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's just me being paranoid. Yeah. I'm scared. Yeah, scary. Exactly, Tayu. Hi, Tayu. Hi. I hope you're good. I hope you're good. How are you doing? Apologies. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's one of those things that you wouldn't really know unless you're like in the trenches of doing that research, but it's a very big topic in meta science and it is a very politicized topic also, both in meta science as a field, but also like more broadly when people talk about it. And like, if you're not in the field, you wouldn't know. So yeah. Social media has caused people to look for extreme viewpoints and it's difficult to explain nuance. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's a causal relationship, but I do think that it has contributed probably in some way or another. I mean, the kind of rhetoric that you see on social media, you also see in traditional media, right? So it's probably just like a whole ecosphere shift. That being said, I do remember I read a really, really interesting paper on this one time. I cannot for the life of me remember what it was called, but it was short. That was the thing that made me happy about it. It was like 4 pages long. It was super short. It was super clear. It was well written. They had a diagram. It's like one of my favorite papers on politicization on social media. So, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Because I have my Zotero. I don't know why I would not just open it. That's a bit silly. Right. It would be in here somewhere. This one? No. I swear I have read this paper like 4 times and it is not in the folder where I would have put it. And I don't know why. I don't know why. It's one of my favorite papers. What am I doing? Why is it not in the folder where it should be? Huh? It's not that one. Is it this one? No, it's not this one. Okay, never mind. I don't have the paper. I have literally cited this in my thesis. I don't know where this paper has gone. Where have I put it? Where is my paper? It's one of my favorites. What the heck? What the heck? This isn't fair. Wait, hang on. Wait. Polarization, social media. Where has it gone? Nope, it's not here. It's not here. I've lost it. Okay. Understandable. Have a great day. Oh well. Oh well. It was a good paper, but I don't remember who it was by or what was the name of it. But I remember it was like 4 pages long and it was like providing a kind of concise model for polarization for political content on social media. And I was like, that's such a nice paper. I love this paper. I should highlight it more. And then Apparently I've lost it. Also, hi, Aux. Sorry. Sorry, you said hello like 10 minutes ago and I was like processing many things at once. I apologize. Hello, Aux. How are you? I hope you're good. I hope you're good. The niceness can also be dismissive and infantilizing. Like nobody is being mean, but you're also not taken seriously. Yes, I have heard that many, many times from many people. It happens so badly. And my uni psychology is generally female orientated. It's like an 80-20 ratio. And I heard that most unis in the country are like that in Germany. It's very similar in the UK. I don't know about the US. I know the UK is very, very similar. In fact, I think it might actually be more extreme in the UK. I think last time I saw it, it was like 85 to 90% female. So it's very, very overwhelming. Yeah. Anecdote. Oh, I've had to deal directly with a Title IX for one of my subordinates, and I had about a half dozen colleagues having rather negative instances, specifically due to sexism. So it's anecdotal, but there's that. Yeah, I think like I said, I think it's very, very variable depending on area. I do also think that there's probably repeat offenders that affect a large number of people. You know, it's like the 20% of people do 80% of the work, but in a bad way. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah. The thing that I've had, I think this is like a combination of being like fairly like young, but also looking young, is that like I've had a lot of people assume that I'm like an undergraduate whilst, you know, finishing my PhD. So that would kind of be a bit rubbish when that happened, but it's fine. It's fine. Only a small fraction of the users on a platform drive its radicalization. Yes, once again, 80% of people do 20% of the work in a bad way. Oh gosh. Oh no. Terrible stuff. Terrible stuff. I'm good. I'm glad, Alex. I'm glad you're good. I'm glad. And also, hi, Monsieur Soiku. Hi. Greetings. How are you? I hope you're good. I hope you're good. And thank you for the follow, Fallen Angel. Thank you. Welcome in. I hope you're ready to take part in some research because you just signed the consent form. Funnily, before psychology, I did computer science where the ratio was flipped. Right? It's always really funny when you see like a psychology lecture come out and a computer science lecture go in. That happened a few times when I was doing my undergrad, and it was very, very funny. It was very funny. Is it a myth that people tend to not trust young doctors? No, from my understanding, that is a thing. It's ageism. It's a thing. You have to be like... There's like a normal distribution of how much people trust you based on your age. If you're young, people don't trust you as much. If you're middle-aged, that's like the peak trust. And then if you're old, people don't trust you anymore. So it's like a bell curve. Yeah. Ageism is a thing. It's a real thing. And frankly, it's like one of the things that probably isn't spoken about enough in a lot of ways. Like if people think you're too young or think you're too old, then they will just ignore you. Like it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild how much older people are infantilized as well. As a side note, the angry little Korean woman has been asked by her government colleague, "Are you old enough to fly? Do we need a second ticket?" And her reply was, "Becky, we went out for wine last week." Ignore my kitchen appliance beeping. Yeah, that I've been ID'd. Did I ask? Can I help you? What is that? Hello? It did it again. But it twice wasn't enough. It needed to come in for a third time. Yeah, okay. I like young doctors. They're going to retire long after I'm gone. I get to keep them as long as they don't move. That's true. Unless you live anywhere in the UK and Ireland, because family doctors don't exist anymore. I have a different doctor every time. I think I've seen, in the past 5 years, first of all, I haven't seen a doctor in a very long time because it's impossible to get an appointment nowadays. At the peak, I rang up every single day, 3 months in a row, and I still didn't get an appointment. And at that point, I just gave up. I was like, I can't do this. It's too much. But when I do finally get an appointment, I think I've had the same person twice. And then aside from that, it's a different person every time. And it's never my named doctor. I don't know who my named doctor is. Like, I have a I think my stomach grumbled. I'm sorry. I think quack. I think I have a named doctor that's meant to be like my doctor, quote unquote, and I don't know who they are. So, yeah. Hi, Wild Max Plays. Hi. How are you? I hope you're good. How are you doing? Thank you for the lab safety register check-in. Thank you. Kitchen appliance is now the star of the stream. It's true. I'm just gonna let it take over the stream. I don't need to be here anymore, do I? It's appliance time, baby. Thank you for the hydrate, Torgamus. Thank you. I will hydrate. I will drink water. It's so funny that it tracks that now. It makes me laugh every time. On the trust thing, I have outfits that I wear for teaching, what I wear for lab, and what I wear when I'm doing speaking. We were taught certain styles track with certain memes. Basically, if I'm public speaking, I cosplay Lex Luthor. That's so funny. I just turn up to everything in anime t-shirts. That might be part of my problem. I've taught in an Attack on Titan t-shirt, and I have delivered a conference talk at an international conference in an Attack on Titan t-shirt. I have no shame. I like surprising people. I like it when people look at me and they're like, this one knows nothing. That is a child. What is she doing here? And then I turn up and then I'm like, actually, I know things. And they're like, oh my goodness, she knows things despite looking like a greasy otaku. Incredible. That's the vibe I want. That's my life goal. Oh. Just Max is all right. Okay, I will call you Max from now on. I'm good, thank you. I'm sleep deprived. That's why we're a bit all over the place. But I'm good. I'm glad that you're all right. I'm very, very glad. Always frustrating when you ask for an appointment with the GP you want and instead they give you the one specifically you didn't want who works at the same surgery. No, I mean, like, we have a constant, like, rotation of locum doctors. I haven't seen the same GP in a row ever. Like, genuinely, I think since I was about... I had the same doctor for a period of time when I was at university because they had, like, a university medical campus. And, like, I went there and it was, like, the same people over and over again because they specialized in, like, students. But, like, aside from that very brief period of, like, 2 years, I have never had the same doctor in a row since I was about, I don't know, 12, 13. Yeah. It's just not ever been a thing. It's just always been locum doctors. So, yeah, it's not ideal, but it's fine. It works. Well, it doesn't because I don't ever see them, but yeah. It doesn't because they don't exist as far as I'm concerned. Oh, dear. I have a classic jeans t-shirt and check it over shirt for every situation. That is a good choice. That's honestly also not far off what I wear, to be honest. I've just embraced it. No, to be fair, my style is quite variable. Sometimes I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, today we're going full J fashion. You can't stop me. And other days I wake up and I'm like, today I want to look like a middle-aged lumberjack. And some days I wake up and I'm like, today I feel like a 13-year-old emo kid. Oh dear. I lucked out to have my family doctor from birth. When he retired his practice, I've been heavily hiring new doctors in prep, so I transferred to the new guy, and it's an area people call of the city. It's an area people call the city of the newlywed and nearly dead. Very few middle-aged or older kids because they move to busy areas. That is so nice. That's so nice. Yeah, I think it's probably just like the nature of the practice I'm at. I should probably move, to be honest. Me and Husmod have been saying for a long time we should move doctors because they're they have a terrible doctor to patient ratio. Let's just put it that way. Like, as in it's in the thousands. So we should probably change that at some point. We should probably change that. Do you ever try to do a background check on your doctor? Do they even exist? You know, I have done a background check on my specialists. I have like blood disorder specialists. I did background checks on them. I like read some of their papers and everything because they had papers on Google Scholar. So I read some and I was like, yes, this is adequate methodology. I trust you. So I did that, but that's, you know, it's a specialist. Like they have to keep publishing. So it was a bit easier. Yeah, I only have like 8 grey shirts in various tones. Sounds like someone else I know. I also in computing, it's more like the speaker has an anime fox go on their t-shirt and a trans pride pin. They're probably a compiler developer. It's true. What is up with the meme about cybersecurity people being furries actually? Because like that's actually true. Based on my experience, it's true. Like it's not even a stereotype. So what's up with that? Have you ever aimed for 13-year-old emo lumberjack? That is my default state. That is my default state. Once someone said that my fashion sense is business casual emo, and I still think about it. Yeah. Which doesn't fit the Psydere's aesthetic whatsoever. It's fine. It's fine. I am Psydere. This is what I would wear in real life, to be fair, but like less colourful. When I'm not a magical girl, I just exclusively wear black clothes, to be honest.
Psydere, seem like you need new organization system Psydere, since losing track of an paper you used in your PhD thesis is quite concerning Psydere one think.
No, it's fine. I'll find it. I'll find it. I think it's just because I think the title of it was something that like didn't quite match up with the content of the paper. So it had like it was a very short title and it had very specific keywords in it, and I just don't remember what the keywords are. But I know where I've cited it in my thesis, so if I cared enough, I could go back and find it. And I remember the paper. I also remember very specifically a diagram in the paper, which is interesting because normally I can't picture things, but I can. Well, I can't picture the diagram, but I know conceptually what the diagram was. So, yeah. The autism to IT. Also, thank you for the 12 bits as well. Thank you. Sorry, I just straight up just started talking and just answering as though Sean is real. Sean is real. Oh dear. I have full tailored suits and custom shirts plus full armor for field work. I have to hide the anime shirt. I just embrace it. I just accept my fate, you know? I've just accepted my fate. If you can't wear an anime girl t-shirt to the lab, what's the point, you know? That's the fun of VTubers. You get to play a bit more. My model is a cute big boober fairy moth. My IRL is, well, tall goth mommy. I mean, both sound pretty good. Let's be honest. Yeah, no, in real life, I'm like business casual emo. I think that's fairly, yeah, I think it's fairly accurate. I mean, that's like one picture of me that I've ever posted online, obviously with a covered face. But yeah, there's like one picture that I've ever posted of me on the Discord server. And that was like one of my nicer outfits, but it is fairly representative of like what I wear, I guess. Like if I'm going more casual, then I just swap out the fancy shirt for a t-shirt. Yeah. I always assume that furries feel ostracized as kids, so they grow up very online and naturally fall into cyber stuff out of convenience and exposure. But I also grew up very ostracized and very online, and I am not a furry, so explain that. Huh? I'm just an anime girl. Well, I'm not even an anime girl right now, am I? I'm just a cartoon girl on the internet, but I'm not a furry. I went down the weeb pathway instead. So why? What differentiates furries and weebs? There is a lot of overlap. Most furries that I know are also weebs. And most weebs that I know are at least interested in cat girls. But like, what is the differential? I wonder. This is the psychology that we need answers to. Thank you for the follow, No Unworthy. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. Would you take part in my study on why people are furries or their anime interest? Otaku, that's the word. Why people are weebs or furries? Would you take part? Who would take part in that research? I feel like this could be a fun study, actually. Oh dear. If I had a nickel for every moth YouTuber in this chat, I'd have two moth VTuber. I'd have 2 nickels. Yeah, interesting. It happened twice. I'll weigh in. Let's go. This study is gonna happen. We will make it happen. I swear. We can make it happen. Speaking of stuff, VTuber is arguably a particular strain of furry. But there's no animal component. How can I be a furry human? Like I get the understanding of the persona. Okay, that I fully get. That's definitely analogous. But like, what makes someone choose an animal versus choosing a human? And then even with that, like, what makes someone choose a cat girl? You know, like, why? It's really, really interesting. Like, I mean, I obviously have bunny ears right now, but I can take it off. I can take my hat off. It's a hat. I'm a human. You know? Why? Why do people differentiate in this way? It's super interesting. Super interesting. I must know. 100 weebs or 100 furries, who would win the fight? You know what? We have the power of God and anime on our side, so I think it's pretty obvious who would win. What is it when I'm not a furry, but my VTuber is a raccoon? My friends don't believe me. See, this is exactly what I mean. You can also be an animal VTuber without being a furry. Like, that is legit. Like, sometimes you just want to be a cute animal, but you don't want to be a furry. For me, like, I think the thing that like defines furry is the aesthetic, right? There's a very particular aesthetic.
The color that fits you best is orange by your vibes. So whimsygothic, I think, would fit you possibly.
Whimsygothic? What is that? I've never heard of that. Thank you so much for the 12 bits. Thank you. What is whimsygothic? Wait, I'm gonna look this up. Oh, okay. It's kind of like half goth, half like cottagecore. Ooh. Interesting. Interesting. Or like not cottagecore. I guess it's more like bohemian. It's almost like bohemian goth. That's interesting. That's very cute. I like that. My oldest brother, the one who does cybersecurity, has this hypothesis. IT furries are the furries you can see because they have the money to buy the really expensive stuff. You don't see the ones who don't have the suits. That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point, actually. Maybe it is just that. But then you could kind of say the same thing about otaku, right? The people that are like openly otaku, like they're the ones that can afford like you know, like anime figures, or I guess also VTuber models. So maybe it's the same with like weebs. Who knows? Although I guess like if you're a weeb, it's a bit more acceptable to do like free stuff like AMVs and stuff like that. I don't know. Like you could just sit and edit AMVs and then like, you know, you're part of the weeb community. It's a lot cheaper to be a weeb than it used to be. Yeah, it definitely is. It used to be so expensive. I'm sorry. Cosplay is like a third of the price, if that, of what it used to be. Like, in fact, back in my day, you couldn't even buy most cosplays. It was just like the really, really big series that you could get. Like you could get Naruto stuff, but like getting anything from like a slightly more obscure anime, 0% chance unless you literally import it from Japan. And now you can just get anything on Temu. It's kind of wild. Like there will be an anime and there will be one episode released, and then all of the characters will also have everything on Temu or whatever. Back in my day, you couldn't even buy Naruto stuff. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. See, like I am enough of a Zoomer that I did grow up with like Hot Topic and equivalents. So there were basic cosplay materials available. At least the accessories. At least the accessories. Yeah. Real answer, autism means you're probably not adherent to unspoken social norms or assumptions. This translates into being more adept at abstract thinking than the IT or the furry fandom precludes. That's an interesting hypothesis. That's very, very interesting. I wonder if that's also why a lot of VTubers are neurodivergent too, is because it's like, you just have no qualms about going onto the internet and being cringe, you know? You just embrace the cringe. Like, I can't be cringe if I don't feel cringe, you know? Just saying. Just saying. I'm not a furry, I'm just non-binary, and cryptids are very gender. This is very true, actually. This is very true. This is what I mean. Like, you can, like, cryptids, or like sometimes, like, certain animal models are not furry. So, like, for example, okay, if we think about who's quite big, who uses an animal model, Moo Clover. Moo Clover is not a furry. I will die on this hill. Moo Clover is an animal, but is not a furry. Okay? That's like, but what's the distinction? I think it's like I think it's the art style. I think that weebs are defined by anime aesthetic, and furries are defined by kind of like the anthropomorphized like Beastars kind of style, right? Like that, or like the Lion King. You know, like there's like a very distinct anthropomorphic style that you see in furries. Beto is literally a turtle. Very good example. He is not a furry, or like, what's the not fur having equivalent? He's not a furry. He's just a turtle, right? Scaly. Okay, he's not a scaly. He's just a turtle, right? But if he had like an anthropomorphic turtle, then it would be. That, I think that's the differentiator. I think it's like full-on animal, like fair play, you're just a cute character. Full-on human, you're just a weeb. Or like, you know, into cartoons or whatever. You have a certain aesthetic, whatever. We'll just assume anime style. You're a weeb. Okay, cool. You're a cat girl, you're a weeb. Because you're fundamentally still human. You've just attached some cat ears and a tail. Like, it's whatever. It's whatever. If you then, like, shift into, like, having, like, a snout or paws, that's straying into furry, I think. And then if you're, like, anthropomorphized animal, in the sense of, like, it has a kind of human body shape, but it's recognizably an animal still, that is definitely furry. Look up the furry scale. Is this a thing? Is this a thing? No, wait, I don't want to Google that. No. I don't want to Google that. I'm not interested in Googling that. Someone find it and post it. It's safe for work. Okay, I'm not worried about it being safe for work. I'm worried about everything else that's going to come up on Google. But, okay. Furry scale. I trust you all. Okay, yeah. I see. Okay. Right, but I kind of disagree with parts of this, though. I disagree with parts of this. So on the furry scale, like full-on animal is still a furry, and I fundamentally disagree. Because you can be just a character that is an animal. That's not inherently furry. It's when it's heavily anthropomorphized, like the 4 on the scale. The 4 on the scale, that's furry. The 3 on the scale is the most furry, I think. I think you could maybe be a 4 and arguably maybe still not be a furry. 3 is like hardcore furry. That's very furry, I think. Yeah. So like, okay, maybe here's a good question. Maybe here's a good question. If any of you have watched Made in Abyss, is Nanachi a furry? Is Nanachi a furry? Yes. No? Interesting. Yes, no. Okay. Abstain. That's valid. Yes, compare to the furry scale and make your objective assessment. But also I want a vibes-based assessment. I am not sure. I think that she is slightly too human to be a furry. However, she is definitely furry coded. That's my opinion. I think she's at least on the borderline. She may well also be. Nanachi is a 2 on the top and a 4 on the bottom of the furry scale. That's the problem. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Although she does have like... No, yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. She is all fur with an animal face. See, but you say that, but... her face is very human. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think you're conflating the character and the person with the character. Yeah, this is another thing, right? Just because somebody's using a model doesn't mean that, like... I think there's probably differing levels of, like, the degree to which they identify with their model, right? This is also very interesting. Okay, so, like... Let's take Vedal as an example again, okay? Right, Vedal's a turtle. We all meme about him being turtle. However, he doesn't then like leave the streams, I imagine, and then go away and be like, I am literally a turtle. Whereas like I have met furries who internalize their character and it's like they actually see it as reflective as like their ideal identity. So like their fursona is like their ideal identity. And you also see this quite variable in terms of VTubers as well. For me, like Psydere is very, like Psydere is like 50% like fun character design. Like I had fun designing the character to make it like the VTuber that I wanted for the purpose that I wanted. But also Psydere is 50% like based on me. Like a lot of Psydere's aspects are based on me in real life. So maybe that is more internalized because there's a bit more embodied what's the word? Embodied cognition? Is that the one? Yeah. Whereas like for somebody who's like, this is literally just a puppet that I am using, maybe they don't have that experience. On all levels except physical, Vedal is not a tutor. It's true. It's true. As I said earlier, I think it's more about self-perception rather than anything visual. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe you can have a furry model, but then because you don't make it clear that that's how you identify, you don't seem as furry, if that makes sense. Because like if somebody was using like a Lion King styled model, I wouldn't assume they were a furry unless they said it. I would just assume that they were like just using an animal model in the style of Disney, you know? The otherkin with furry and furry adjacent, where the otherkin are like, this is really me versus I like dressing up as a cat girl when I stream. Yeah, exactly. It's a big difference. But then it's also really interesting because I've spoken to people who like, they wear their fursuit and when they do it, it's like, this is who I really am. This is like what I want to be. And there's other people that wear it and they just kind of see it as like, just a fun costume to put on. So it's also really interesting even how there's a lot of variance even within the community like that. Yeah. Really, really interesting. We're going to add another study to the list. We are. Oh no. Oh no. We're going to have a whole research program at this rate. This is wild. An entire research program literally just into VTuber psychology. I think we should actually do this. Has anyone confirmed that Vedal isn't really a tootle though? I mean, it's true. It's true. I mean, he did those cooking streams to be fair. So we have seen somewhat of a human form. We have seen somewhat of a human form. I'm going to drink some water. Feels like taxonomy than study. Yeah. I think the thing that I'm interested in is how people think about that and then how that like reflects into how they signal it to other people, if that makes sense. Like, does the degree that you identify as a furry reflect in your interactions with people? Like, is there like social signaling going on? Like social identity signaling? This is very interesting to me. Okay. Where are we? I said it before, but there's a study out there somewhere on how autism and how it affects people's self-perception in relation to their environment and how that affects gender presentation, which could also relate to why autistic folk tend to more towards being furries as well. That's super interesting. I know there's a really interesting dynamic between gender and autism.
Psydere one think Psydere one HYPE Psydere one year.
Thank you for the 10 bits, Sauza. Thank you. I mean, to be fair, I think this would very much be a collaborative endeavor because I can't do this on my own. My brain's not working enough. Me and Mylan, we're gonna team up. We're gonna write our protocols. And then I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, Mylan, please can you take over? Because I can't collect any data right now because I don't have anyone to collect data from. Imagine if we could get funding though. That would be fun. That would be fun. I'll do the methods and results. You do the intro and discussion. Yes, playing up to our strengths. We can do it. Playing up to our strengths. Let's go. I'm down for this. Oh gosh. Okay. Right. That was literally a turtle head on a human body. It's true. Well, I keep saying turtle. I've read that too much in the neuroverse. I've read turtle far too many times. I've started actually saying it. This is terrible. This is like all of those times where you like read the word pog and you're like, this is ironic, and then you start actually saying it and
hello,
you're like, oh god.
Hello, this is Zalraz Zalayuris. Psydere, the cosplay anime 2.5 seduction have an episode talking about how cosplay show have open up that help make cosplay more easier to do, but cosplay is still a niche hobby that people might unfortunately misunderstand and unfairly judge for its. I highly recommend 2.5 seduction anime. It is the best cosplay anime in existence.
I will have a look at that. Wait, hang on. My anime list. Did you all know that I do actually have a my anime list? And I do actually update it sometimes? This one? Is it this one? Wait. Okay, yes, I found it. Okay, cool. I have found it. I will add it to my to watch list. Thank you so much for the 11 bits. Thank you. I've added it to my to watch. Well, I haven't added it yet. I've got it open. I'm not logged in for some reason, but I will add it to my to watch list. Thank you. Just sneak into Vexpo and slip the survey into attendee bags. I'm actually going to Vexpo. Like, I am actually, me and Hosmod are actually going to Vexpo. So I low-key could actually just ask the organizers, can I do research at your convention? I probably could just ask. I don't, have I actually even like properly announced that yet? Like, yeah, we're going to Vexpo. We're going to be there. Not as like a guest or anything. I'm just going. I'm not cool enough to be a guest. I'm not cool enough to be a guest. But we're going. So that's good. That's fun. I'm very excited. Yeah. Can't wait to go and see Birmingham again. Yippee. There are noises outside and I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that. Yeah, sampling a survey at anime conventions. So Vexpo is like VTuber Expo. Oh my god, I said that so English. What the heck? VTuber. Please end my suffering. It's VTuber Expo in Birmingham. Vexpo. Or VExpo. People say it different ways. There is no conclusion on which is the right way to say it. I personally think that the V is capitalized and the E is lowercase, and therefore it is one sound together, so it's Vexpo. But yeah, I am actually going. Me and Husband are both going. So we will be there. So in theory, potentially, if we wanted to sample VTubers, there's an option. There's a chance it could happen in person potentially. So yeah. Hi Landon Default. Hi. How are you? I hope you're good. Welcome in. How are you doing today? It's possible to have and update my anime list. I know, right? Isn't it wild? And I'm even watching anime at the minute. Like, can you believe it? There are actually multiple seasons being released of things that I am watching as they come out. I'm on top of 2 whole seasonal anime. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. That's wild. No, I guess they're not seasonals though, are they? Because it's like, it's 2 sequel series. So yeah, but they're good. I'm enjoying them. I started to use younger slang in yours and Mylin's chats because old joke, and it has unfortunately stuck now. See, this is why you never do this. This is too dangerous. You should not do that. What do people keep in their upper pockets in their lab coats? Not pens for sure. But then what? See, when I have worn a lab coat for a while, and I did actually keep like pens in there because it's quite a deep pocket, so I could just keep pens in there. That is what I put in there. Eventually, you could be a guest, maybe one day, but not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. It's cool though. I'm just gonna be like lurking around, you know. I'll just be lurking. I'll just turn up to things. I'll go to the maid cafe. I'm gonna try and get at least 1 meet and greet because I didn't get any meet and greets last year and I feel like that was very rude. So I'm gonna try and get the meet and greet. I don't know who with. I have the opportunity to do the funniest thing and get the Rin Penrose meet and greet. I could try. It would be funny. But no, I'm gonna keep seeing who's actually got meet and greets. So far I think there's been like 2 or 3 people where I'm like, that'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, we'll see. Kept snacks in there. That's so valid. I would also, I should have done that too. I'm sorry, there's an ad. We need to let the ad do the thing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And then I will continue yapping. Impossible, you can't be in the same place twice at the same time. It's true. It's true. However, I pose the suggestion that if Rin Penrose is at Vexpo, and I am also at Vexpo, maybe we're in the same place once. Maybe we're in the same place once. Who knows? Oh dear. Meet and greet would fit you remarkably well. Low-key, I kind of want to, actually. It would be quite funny. I could get to meet my Oshi, who I actually don't really watch because I have fear of watching them. I feel like if I watched Rin Penrose, we would just merge. We would, like, you know, there'd be like some kind of quantum merging going on and it would form a singularity and it would be terrible. So I don't actually really watch Rin. I'm scared too. The universe will collapse. Don't do it. Exactly. It will become a singularity and it will be terrible and everything will end and it will all return to nothing and it will all come tumbling down. Yeah, it wouldn't be great. Rin has just learned ventriloquism. What? What is the context? What is the context? Rin streams. I don't, like I said, I don't really watch them because genuinely, like, I feel like we would actually just become the same person. But from what I've seen of the concepts of them, they're quite funny. So I always look at the concepts and I'm like, those are some very creative and interesting ideas. Good job. I don't know you. We're not the same person. You're welcome. You're welcome, Komi Belladonna. You're welcome. I should put that on the list of... I still owe you all a karaoke stream. And I should put that on the list of songs that I attempt. Yeah. Yes, Kom Susa Todd, yes. Yes. I do owe you a karaoke stream. I keep putting it off because I have to set up OBS in the right way so that it actually works. Because last time I tried to do it, there was like a 2-second delay between the music and me, and that was not great. Listening back, it was terrible. So yes, I do in fact owe you karaoke. I'm aware. I need to set up OBS. I'm also definitely not putting it off. The first fusion reaction occurs as Sai and Rin get quantum entanglement. Oh no. Dear Lord. Dear Lord. I feel, well, for the last stream of Rin's, I watched she was going into a deep dive in the world of the horse girl game. Like, do they have to have different jails for the horse girls because they are stronger? Do they have a horse girl clothes tax like there is for women's razors? Because the clothes companies would have to make special clothes. It's true, to be fair. It's true, and these are the good questions. I think the fusing is a risk. Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too. Okay. Here is my thinking. I should answer another question. Okay, let's go. So this is kind of a continuation of Lankuri's previous question. What inspired you to go for a PhD? That is a good question. I don't remember. That's the honest answer. I don't remember. I think I wanted to move to a certain place, and then I got a PhD offer. I saw a PhD. I was like, that sounds vaguely interesting, and I applied for it, and then I got it. And then I was like, oh, I guess I have to actually do this now. And then I turned up and did the thing. But like, I never had like a strong, overwhelming urge to do a PhD. I wanted to do research. So I was like, I can just, I guess I can do that, or I can apply for actual jobs. And then I got the PhD. I was like, it's quite an anticlimactic reason. Yeah. It's quite an anticlimactic reason. I apologize. Hi, Anglonias. Hi. How are you? I hope you're good. I hope you're good. Welcome in. And also, hi, Seon. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. These long phones to reach their ears are definitely more expensive. Yeah, right? Unless they could just use the really old ones. They could just use the really old ones. Like the old, long phones, you know? Hi, Boxim. Hi. How are you? Welcome in. I hope you're good. How are you doing? How are you doing? Okay, right. Question. Another question. This one's long. I'm gonna read it out. I feel like this one needs to be read in a dramatic voice. Okay. It's kind of this one's kind of an experience. Okay. Have you ever questioned that you never had any agency? We know that the sun is moving on its own. The grass grows on its own. Rain happens on its own. But most humans don't question it to themselves. Are you digesting, or is it happening on its own? Are you really thinking, or is it just neurons firing? Are you beating your heart, or is it beating on its own? Did you control when your next sneeze is going to be, or does it arise on its own? Does hearing require a person to hear, or is hearing just happening on its own? How about sight? Does it require a human to see? Let's say your name is Josh. Does it require a Josh to see? Or is seeing just happening? What if Josh gets amnesia and forgets his name? Inquiry. I think questioning all of this is important for us as humans. That's a question. Thank you for the following, Glonius. Welcome in. Welcome into the research participation pool. You have to take part in research. Have you ever questioned your agency? Oh my gosh. That's a bit of a deep question for research. You're good? I'm glad, Boxim. I'm glad. Have I ever questioned whether I have agency? I mean, I have. I had like a brief like existential crisis when I first learned how neurons work. And then I was just kind of like, I don't think that whether I have agency or not, I'm not convinced that it would change the experience of my life regardless. You know, at the end of the day, if you either have agency or you think you have agency, your experience is the same, your perception's the same. So that was kind of my conclusion. I don't know. That was just kind of how I summarized it to myself, was like, If I have agency, or I simply think I have agency, realistically, what does it actually change about my life? If I think that I have control over things, then that means to some extent I do have control over things. And even if I'm just convincing myself that I have control over things when I actually don't, if it doesn't change anything about how I'm living my life, which I'm not sure it does it matter? Don't know. That's how I think about things. I don't know. I don't know if that's like a weird conclusion. TLDR, I don't think it matters. I'm just gonna keep vibing regardless of whether I have agency or simply perceived agency. I don't really care. It could be all a simulation and I'd be fine with that, you know? Some people get really freaked out, like, what if we live in a simulation? And I'm like, yeah, we could. It's fine. I don't care. It doesn't change anything. If I'm living my life in the real world or if I'm living my life virtually, at the end of the day, it's still my life and I'm making what I can out of it. So I don't think it matters. In the same way that I think that you can make good content regardless of whether you're a VTuber or a facecam streamer or even a disembodied floating body over stock footage. Like, I think you can make good and like, you know, if you do different media outside of video, also all of the different types, you know, watercolor, oil paint, digital art, crafting, making zines, doing infographics on social media, graphic design generally, writing, creative writing, non-fiction writing, etc., playwriting, acting, music, all of the things. I was going somewhere with that and I forgot what it was. All of the things. I can do them virtually or I can do them in real life. And at the end of the day, if it brings me happiness, who cares? Yeah. What motivated you to go to college in the first place? It's a good question. I think part of it was like, I went to a school that kind of just pushed me to do that. And part of it was spite. Because everyone kept telling me, you're stupid. They kept telling me, you're not even going to pass your GCSEs. And I was like, well, now I'm going to, just to prove a point. So it like legit, it was, I mean, it was also like career. Like I wanted to have I was aware of the fact that like going to university, as long as you're being smart and building up you know, your CV, getting work experience and stuff like that alongside it, like as long as you're doing all of those things, university and getting a degree is a very worthwhile experience because it unlocks a lot of avenues that would not be available if you didn't, let's be honest. Or like it would require more work to do if you didn't have a degree. So that was my thinking. I was like, you know, I do pretty well doing self-directed studying. I enjoy the topic. Functionally, I will be in a lot of debt, but it's more like a tax. So that doesn't bother me too much. The postgraduate one does bother me because that is like a debt. That is a debt and it weighs over me. It's a lot of money. I try not to think about it. I will probably not pay it off anytime soon. But the undergraduate one in the UK is basically just like a tax because you take out an amount and it basically, the way that it works in the UK, okay. The way that it works in the UK, at least in England, when you go to university, you take out a loan, quote unquote a loan from the government. They pay for your tuition. They pay for you. They give you like maintenance loans so that you can afford to, you know, eat food and stuff like that and pay your rent. It's not enough to actually cover that. You also have to work alongside it, but you know, it gets you some of the way there. And then you finish your degree and congratulations, you're now in £60,000 worth of debt to the government. But it's okay because at the end of the day, they basically just take £150 out of every pay slip. So it's more like a tax. Like you will never pay it off. You will never pay it off unless you win the lottery. You will never pay it off. You're not meant to pay it off in the UK. But the postgraduate loan is more like a loan because it also, to be fair, also the undergraduate one also has like the rate of inflation is like, well, the interest rate is around inflation. Like it's not, at least it was when I went. It's not awful. Okay. But like the postgraduate one, good lord, that one is terrible. They take an extra amount. So it's basically an extra £150 off your payslip every month. You will also never pay it back because the interest rate is like 3 times inflation, 4 times inflation, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger unless you overpay. So that's what I'm doing now. And sometimes I wish I'd just worked more hours during my masters instead of taking out that loan. But you know, it's fine. It gets written off after 30 or 40 years. But like the masters one's annoying because it's like, I think it's when you take it out, it's around like £10,000. And I did my masters I finished it. When did I finish it? I don't remember. Approximately 5 years ago. And it is now 14,000. So it's gone up a fair bit. The interest certainly compounds. Because you start having to pay the interest straight away, by the way. Even if you're still at university, if you're still in grad school, you still got to start paying it. There's like a 9% interest rate on it. So, yep. But they just take it out like a tax again, but also it's like, it affects like affordability and stuff if you want to go for a mortgage. So I do need to, one day I will pay it off, but it's not happening anytime soon. In fellow debt, high five. High five. Yeah, but like US debt though, from what I understand, is like that is an actual loan from like private entities, right? Like, I mean, I've heard you can get government ones too, but like the ones in the UK are just purely government. So it is basically more like a tax than anything else. It's just a tax that you will never pay off. And after 30 years, it gets written off. Except for me, I think it's 30 years after I finish university. So it's 30 years from when I graduate my PhD. So it's 2055. My loans will be written off. Yay. And I'm sure that they will be close to 1 million by then. Yippee! Oh dear. Oh dear. Also, hi, Mozzie Gracelope. Hi. Feels like a false dichotomy. Josh is what we call seeing happening on its own. Yeah, exactly. I don't really... I think the premise I kind of fundamentally disagree with, but then I'm not much of a dualist in general. Like, I kind of just think like, yeah, we probably are just a bunch of firing neurons, and I'm completely fine with that. I've made my peace with it. It doesn't bother me. I'm completely cool with it. So yeah. Feels like none of those things are happening on their own. They're all part of webs. Yeah, even the sun doesn't move on its own. It moves because of everything else in the universe. Yeah, it's all like a complicated causal chain, like a network. I agree. And we are also complicated causal chains and networks. And again, I'm completely fine with that. I'm so fine with that. Agency comes in the form of that brain chemistry. It can be chained and manipulated. You can take actions to increase the brain meats on purpose. Yeah, but I guess like what they're saying is like how, like if your neurons are firing before you make a decision, are you really making the decision? Like how do you define you? But then like I said, I'm not a dualist. I think of me as including the neurons. So it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Who cares is very valid. A lot of the agency talk is very taking very vague ideas of personhood and getting attached to the vagueness. Yeah, I think also, like, to be fair, I think it probably does boil down to I've got probably like slightly weird conceptions of what personhood is. So like for me, I would say that I don't think my gut instinct is that I don't think that there's anything inherently special about, like, I think humans have cognitive abilities, but I'm not convinced that there's anything inherently like unique about us. Like there are lots of other species that also have unique cognitive traits. And I'm not convinced that the idea that humans are like the most intelligent species, I'm not convinced that that is true. I feel like it might be kind of like our own biases coloring how we see the rest of like other species, basically. Because when I look at like the social structures of cetaceans, right? There is no way in my mind that that is not intelligence. That is so clearly intelligence. And frankly, their social structures and their emotion cortices are so complicated. They probably experience emotions that we can't even imagine. And they probably experience social relationships that we can't imagine. And that's fine. They just have a different type of intelligence in that way. But I do think that we have a tendency to look at other species through our own lens, and we kind of forget that. We kind of forget that, like, you know, like sensory intelligence on, like, when you're looking at like a species, like a macro level, sensory intelligence is intelligence. And like, or like, you know, social structures are intelligence. You can't sit here and tell me that bees are not intelligent. I will fight you. I will actually fight you. Like, anyone who says that bees are not intelligent, like, this is exactly what I mean. Like, their social structures are so complex. Bees are awesome. I agree. Also, hello, Watcher of Games. Hello, Watcher of Games. And also, hello, Wade Killo. Hello, hello. I hope you're both good. Yeah, I agree. Bees are awesome. They're so interesting. They're so interesting. The social structures of bees, so interesting. Any guesses on the smartest species? I don't think we can decide on a smartest species. I don't think there is one. Because I think that different species have different abilities, and that's fine. Like, you know, I think that there's been, I've heard a kind of analogy that's like, you wouldn't like put like a cow in the ocean and then go, oh, it's dumb because it can't swim as well as a fish. Or like even a chimpanzee or a human, you wouldn't put them in the middle of the ocean and go, oh, well, they can't breathe underwater, so they're not intelligent. Like, that, it's just different contexts require different things, and different environments require different adaptations, and those are all useful in different contexts. So trying to say like which of the species is the most superior when all of them inhabit different niches, it just seems fundamentally silly. Smartest is poorly defined and also not a single dimensional value. Exactly. So if we're thinking purely in terms of like problem solving ability, like cognition in the way that we think about it, like problem solving ability, spatial rotation, and, you know, being able to do logic and stuff like that, we're probably fairly high ranked. But even then, like, a lot of problem solving skills are displayed by like even like corvids, like birds, parrots, corvids, like crows and ravens and stuff. So yeah, I'm not convinced that it's scientifically accurate to say that humans are like superior in any way. And like, and that's how I think about personhood. And I think that feeds into why I don't inherently see a problem with a lack of like dualism. Like, I don't have a problem with just being a bunch of firing neurons, because like, it just doesn't bother me, because like a dolphin is also a bunch of firing neurons. But I also think well, not dolphins actually, because they're kind of rude, but like belugas, porpoises and belugas, they're cute, they're friendly. Dolphins are rude, we don't like dolphins. But like porpoises and belugas and stuff like that, like, you know, you can't sit there and say like they're not intelligent, but they're also just a bunch of firing neurons, and they have experiences that we can't conceive. That doesn't mean that they're not intelligent, they're just different. And I think it also probably boils down into like how I think about things in terms of neurodiversity as well. Because like at the end of the day, this is kind of the core premise of neurodiversity, right? Is like, you know, there's like neurotypical people, and there are ADHD people, and there are autistic people, and dyslexic and dyspraxic, and people that hear voices, and people that have synesthesia, and all of these things. And like, they're all part of like natural variation, and none of them are inherently bad. It's just different. And I kind of see like other species in the same way. And that's why just like the concept of personhood generally, I'm not super attached to it. Like, yeah, I don't know. Are you vegan? Is it obvious? I have said before that my favorite Greg's thing is the vegan sausage roll, so. Even if corvids are worse than us at those things, humans are best at the things that humans define themselves as being best at. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, corvids are like incredible at like foraging food, for example. If you put me out in a city and told me go and find food that won't kill you, go and survive out of like the bins, like I ain't doing that. I'm gonna die in like 3 days. Let's be honest. I will give myself food poisoning and die. I will die of cholera. Like, it's not happening. So, so like even just that is incredibly intelligent. Or like birds in general being able to navigate, like having such incredible like spatial and environmental awareness. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. You can't tell me that's not intelligence. Like I said, it's just different forms of intelligence are required for different circumstances. My friends argued that dogs are smarter than cats because they're social hunters, and I'm like, and octopuses aren't smart then? Yeah, octopuses are super, super smart. And also, this is another thing, like, dogs are smarter than cats. Like, I'm sorry, there's no way that cats aren't intelligent. They're just intelligent in a different way. Like, I don't know. They have different skills, but that at the end of the day, it's all just neurons arranged differently, and that's fine. I think humans are capable of understanding the capacity of objects and beings. They don't always judge the capacity correctly, but they can judge it. To some extent, sure, but then we spent a big chunk of time, you know, like putting autistic people that were otherwise largely functional, but just were a bit different, on bonfires and calling them witches. So I'm not super convinced. I'm not super convinced, you know? Yeah, like, again, I think it's judging it according to our own criteria. Like, there is some use to it in some situations, don't get me wrong. And, whoa. Sorry, it's my medication time. Yippee! And like saying, you know, obviously you can also judge it just to some extent by just the sheer diversity and adaptability of the skills displayed as well. And also self-awareness to some extent too, probably. But like some skills I think inherently require self-awareness. Like in order to, for example, in order to manipulate like a puzzle, for example, I feel like you kind of, at least to some degree, need to be aware of how you're rotating things and whether you've put things in places and stuff. Like maybe not as much as like, you know, something deep and introspective, but there still needs to be some degree of awareness. Thank you for the posture check and hydrate. Thank you. Okay. I am conveniently hydrating anyway, to be fair, because I am taking my medicine. Definitely not pandas. Yeah. Pandas are like the definition of no thoughts, head empty. That is very true. That is very true. Yeah, the giant panda. No thoughts, head empty. Not a single thought amongst them. What is the I, the true self, the subject that perceives everything? Yeah, but this is the interesting thing, right? Is there a self? Is there a self? This is where it gets really interesting. Is the self an actual entity, or is it a, for lack of a better word, is it a functional piece of software that helps us navigate the environment? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. My gut instinct, and this is not based on anything scientific, it's just purely based on like vibes. Sorry, I'm still taking my medicine. My personal gut vibe has always been like, there probably isn't a self, it's probably just perception. And I don't know why I think that. It's just how I've felt. But then that in itself is kind of interesting. Like, if there is a self, why do so many people think that there isn't one? Why is there an entire religion dedicated to removing the self from you? Interesting. Implies it's possible to not have a self. Yeah, I find it very interesting to think about these things. One way to destroy that human bias would be meeting some super intelligent alien species and figuring out stuff faster. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. They could perceive us in ways that we could never perceive ourselves. I mean, to be fair, dolphins might do. The fundamental issue is communication. We can't communicate with dolphins yet. Yet. I hope we can one day so that I can tell them that they're rude. I think you're the rudest cetaceans. Why do you act like that? Brings the question, what is it in humans that allows us to think in that way, that allows us to make this dominating civilization while the other animals continue to live on the verge of survival and never thriving? See, but this is the thing, right? Is that the case? We don't know. We're assuming that they're not thriving. We're assuming that they don't have civilizations. Because at the end of the day, like, say for example, look at cetaceans again, right? There is variance obviously by species, but even within species, there are massive variations in how big pod sizes are. You can get like solo dolphins that will just vibe by themselves and they're not interested. And then you can have like massive megapods that are like 500 dolphins. And there's variance in the same way that there's variance in between like human settlements. Everything from like that one dude that lives in a hut in the woods on his own to like massive, massive cities. Like obviously it's not as big, but I do wonder how much of it is skill and how much of it is just like having the right and like being in the right place at the right time, if that makes sense. If dolphins had thumbs, it would be over for us. I genuinely believe that. That's scary. I bet that most birds are better at three-dimensional spatial reasoning than humans. I would assume so, yeah, because like so much of what they do is like, well, I mean, they have to literally think in 3 axes a lot more than us, right? Like we can kind of get by on 2 axes. Like we can kind of go like, wait, I'm thinking. Largely our lives would be like X and Z, right? It's like left and right, front and back. We don't really go up and down very much. We do in like modern society because like that's part of big old buildings and stuff. But, you know, it's a very relatively small part of our movement. Whereas birds always have to think up and down. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Where am I? Oh gosh, I've lost my place. I'm so lost and confused. I'm lost and confused. No. Yeah, ravens have clans in Yellowstone that work with packs of wolves and they have generational friendships. Exactly. So like, it's not impossible for civilizations to form. And like, I also feel like probably some species do their own version of like art, but we just don't comprehend it in that way because we can't talk to them. We can't communicate with them in the same way. So if we could communicate with them, I think we'd probably learn some quite interesting stuff, you know? Yeah. Yeah. My cat when I was young could open doors, had favorite shows, and would steal the remote and switch channels when we were asleep and changed his meows to mimic English for things. That's threatening. You had like a threatening cat. That cat was evolving in a way that I don't feel comfortable with. I also think that if cats had thumbs, it would also be over for us. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, people asking do dogs dream? They obviously dream. They obviously dream. They obviously do. I've literally seen when I was growing up, I literally saw my dog have hypnagogic jerks all the time. He had like a sleep disorder, I think. He would like hypnagogic jerk like a couple of times a week. I think human superpower is adaptability to environment, which a lot of species share. We just do it better because we're the most flexible apex predator. Yeah, I mean, it could be a bit of that. It could be a bit of that. But I do also think it's just like we have a range of tools that is accessible to like because of the quirk of how our anatomy evolved, we have a bunch of tools available to us that other species don't. Like say for example, like setting fire, right? Okay, let's use setting fire as an example. Like a flint, setting a fire with a flint, okay? A raven kind of like fundamentally would really struggle to do that because it doesn't have the size. Like it just doesn't have the size to be able to do it, you know? So I think it is partially just like we have the right, genuinely thumbs. We have thumbs. And I think if other species had thumbs, it'd be over. Rather than fighting each other, we'd be fighting animals instead, you know? Yeah, no, to be fair, religion I was born into is all about removing the sin from you. Religions don't need to engage with things that materially exist. Yes, this is very, very true. This is very, very true. And also just that, like, the concept of like, is the self real or not is just fun to play around with. I'm not a religious person. I'm not a spiritual person. I am, yeah, I'm a science person. I'm sorry. I'm like the generic, like, yeah, I'm a walking flesh sack, deal with it. I don't know why I did that weird voice. That's me. I've always been that way. Like, I was raised, well, they tried to raise me religious and it just didn't work. So yeah, like, that's just how my brain works. Fully agree that things don't need to exist for religions to engage with it. Fully agree. But I do think it's quite interesting that, like, it's been independently considered religiously and secularly, and when you actually look at the evidence, there is a discussion to be had there. I think that's pretty interesting. I noticed some gender dysmorphic people don't view the body as part of the self, which might cause problems with communications with cisgender people. Yeah, it could well do. I mean, body dysmorphia in general, like, well, I mean, also just dissociation too. That the whole kind of like broad range of like dissociative and dysmorphic stuff could indeed cause communications. And I think, like, if you don't have that experience of either dissociating or feeling dysmorphic about your existence, then it's really hard to imagine it. So I can see that being a big communication barrier. Are ant colonies civilization? Ooh, interesting. Counterpoint, the Chinese word for civilization is wenming, which could be translated to as literature, writing, enlightenment. So would a civilization be defined as a social collective that can make records and learn and improve? That's super, super interesting. But again, we don't know whether a lot of animals do that, because they could be doing it and we just aren't realizing it. Because, like, there's like layers of interpretation, right? There's like what is actually happening, but then we're always going to see some things through the lens of what we think could be happening. And the only way to kind of break through existing biases is to collect enough data that, like, it's kind of undeniable. Or at least, like, we start to seriously consider it. Like, that's just, for some reason, that's just how most people's brains work. I do think that, like, having the transfer of knowledge is a super important part of it. But then again, we know that most animals engage in some, like, especially like mammals and birds, engage in some form of social learning. And if the barrier is just whether they can record it, or including like oral transfer, we can't interpret their communications. So how would we ever know? They could be doing it, which is exactly what I mean. Like, there's no way to know for certain. So it's a really, really interesting topic. My gut feeling is that a lot of, like, research into this area, I find it really interesting, but I do feel like a lot of it kind of goes into, like, the pre-existing notion of, like, humans are different in some way, and we are studying these things so that we can learn about things that are different. And it's like, that's good in some respects, but also oftentimes I kind of will read things and it will be kind of like assuming that, like, oh, look, this animal can't do an IQ test, it's inferior. And it's like, that's not the right kind of different. It's not the right way to approach it. It's this, I feel like sometimes I read those kinds of papers and it's the same deficit model that I see in papers about autism, and it makes me feel weird. So yeah. Thank you, NoXID, for the follow. Welcome in. I hope I've said your name right. Sorry if I didn't. Is it NoXID or NOXID or like Noxid? What is your preference? Or do you have a nickname that you prefer? Let me know. Let me know. But thank you for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. Welcome in. Welcome in. A lot of species have civilization, depending on your definition. Most hierarchical structures are a sign of some form of civilization. Yeah, it could well be. And then even non-hierarchical structures could also be indicative. We're just words indicative of it. We just don't know. And it's super, super interesting. Super interesting. We build stuff. It's clear that humans are jarringly different to other species. We're the only ones that look up at the stars and ponder beyond. But again, we don't know that because we don't speak to other species. So how do we know that? It's an assumption. It's an assumption that like because something is behaving in a different way to how we do, that means that it just doesn't share experiences whatsoever. We're the only ones that have managed to harness energy from explosions, for example, yes, but that doesn't mean that we're the only ones that would be capable of doing it. So yeah, like given the right circumstances, maybe things would be different. That's my thinking on it. Because to be honest, like I said, I kind of think about it in the same way as I think about neurodiversity. You know, when I was growing up, I was told like, you're bad at school. You don't cope with the structure. You don't cope with the social environment. You're bad at school. You're going to fail. You're going to fail at life and education and everything. And it was because I was autistic. But then I went to university and I got to structure things in a way that suited me. I got to surround myself with people that were accepting of me and who supported me, and I then did quite well. So like social environment and also physical environment clearly does play a big role in it. So yeah, I'm still, I don't know, potentially there's a chance that you know, like some species of animals do look up at the stars and think I would love to be able to explore what is up there, but I don't know how to get there. In the same way that humans did for such a long time, you know? It's only in the last like few thousand years that we've been able to even conceive of doing that, you know? Well, not even thousand. I mean, if you're talking about space travel, it's literally been in the last 100, so yeah. Yeah, humans make the most tools. A few animals also make tools, but it's very limited. Most animals make at least some kind of tool, from my understanding. And there's a lot of species that make a lot of tools. It's just that, again, I think that some of them are kind of limited by their biology, you know? Again, like a crow can't realistically... How is a crow going to make steel? It's small. Like, it's small and it doesn't have thumbs. Or like a dolphin. How is a dolphin going to make steel? It's underwater. You know? Like, that's my kind of thinking on it. I think the most directly comparable is like, you know, like obviously the other great apes. But even then, did they just not have the same opportunities for learning that humans did, like early humans did? You know? We just don't know. We don't know because it was so long ago we can never find out. So, yeah. These are the things that I find interesting. This is the type of philosophy that I find very, very interesting to think about. Yeah. This is the type of philosophy that I find interesting to think about. Like, what is the differential between like different types of psychology? Basically, if it's linked to psychology, I'm interested. Yeah. There's a million things between where they are and steel. Yeah, I know. But even if they wanted to make steel, they just can't because they're underwater. How are they going to make space rockets? They can't. The dolphins are trapped in the water. They're trapped. Okay. Wait, I'm going to very quickly skim. Also, hi, Masek. Hi. I hope you're good. We also live for a fairly long time, so we have time to learn over a lifetime and perfect techniques. Yeah, that's also true. That's also true, is that our metabolisms are generally pretty good. Pretty good. And yeah, we've found good ways to protect ourselves. And again, like, thinking of dolphins again, like, they're in the open ocean. It's quite hard to... When you're a mammal, you have to go to the surface to breathe. You're in the open ocean. You have to travel really, really far to get your food. It's inherently a lot more nomadic than humans can be, especially since agriculture developed. So yeah, Tizu defined humans as the most game breaker in an MMO full of game breakers, and they would be even after severely nerfing their intelligence. Yeah, because we've just got so many like We've got so many unfair advantages, like being on land, having thumbs, being able to like both crawl and reach up, and then the intelligence and the social connections that we can develop. Like all of these things together, it's not fair. The others had no chance. They had no chance. IQ tests aren't even made for all humans. Yeah, that's very, very true. There's a lot of there's a really big debate in like the cognitive psychology community that focuses on like IQ testing and stuff, where basically if you do IQ tests in certain populations, there are biases built into the IQ tests that seem to affect the results. And if you make more culturally appropriate IQ tests, then you start to see the reverse pattern. So that's, yeah, interesting stuff. And across species, the comparisons just get even more intense. Okay, so I think that we have yapped enough today. I'm not gonna lie, I'm tired and hungry. I'm gonna put this away. Wait, there we go. Goodbye, little QR code. We appreciated you. We did answer some questions, so I think we did pretty good. Thank you for the follow, Wade. Kill you. Thank you. But yeah, my allergies are still acting up. I'm hungry. I have to go to work tomorrow and I'm not excited. Well, I am excited, but I'm also not excited. I want to sleep. I wish I could spend more of the day just sleeping. Yeah. You must refuel the beans. Exactly. We probably will have beans. I think we're gonna have beans. I'm not gonna lie. Beans, yeah. We'll have pasta with beans in it. I think that today we should go and say hello to Tiny Toxic Tofu. She's doing a charity stream. She's doing a three day? Yeah, she's on day 2 of 3 and it's a charity marathon. So I think we should go say hi to Tofu.
Hello, this is Zelraz Zaliyuri's, Psydere. The education system conditions you for obedience and conformity, since it's based on the Prussian military model, so the modern education system is bad for all types of people in my perspective.
Interesting. I don't know anything about the Prussian military model of education. I have absolutely no idea about that. I don't know much about education models in general, to be honest. It's not really my area. But that's very, very interesting. I might look into that. Thank you so much for the 21 bits. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, no, I have my own personal problems with the education system, but you know, it's fine. It is what it is. I've come to terms with them and I've navigated it in my own way. And part of the reason why I like doing like science streams is because I want people who haven't had the same opportunities as me to be able to engage with science, because I think it's important, you know? I think it's important. So yeah. So today we're going to go and raid Tiny Toxic Tofu. Tiny Toxic Tofu is a physics lecturer and she is also very, very lovely. What is she doing at the minute? She's doing a charity stream. She is playing... When I find her... Where is she? Hello. She's playing... Oh, she's playing Odd Sparks, an automation adventure. I don't know what that is, but it sounds fun. Me and Husmod are like obsessed with Factorio at the minute, so automation is sounding very, very interesting to me. But yeah, the top raid messages for subscribers and the bottom one is for non-subscribers. So yeah, please use them. Please use them and please consider supporting Tofu's charity thing. I think it looks like she's raising money for if I remember correctly, she's raising money for a library in Zambia. Yes, she's raising money for a library in Zambia. So it's a very, very good cause. Solar panels for it so that it can keep functioning throughout the time without being expensive and stuff. But yeah. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you for joining the Yap. We did talk about science stuff and psychology stuff. So I think, you know, I think this counts as a science stream. Sorry that we didn't read a journal article. It wouldn't, I would not have functioned. It wouldn't have worked. I don't know when the next stream is just yet. I'm going to be posting a schedule on Discord and on social media. So keep an eye out for that. It will probably be the Tuesday or Thursday. and then Sunday again. I think that's roughly what I'm going to keep doing. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure yet. Keep an eye out. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you next time. Thank you all so much. Yes, I'm going to go and sleep. I'm going to sleep. Thank you, everybody. Bye.